A new dawn breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Love that guy. Something I could never do. How's everybody doing? How are y'all doing out there? Let's get to it. Hey, what's up, Chris? Good to see you, brother. Allison, good to see you, sister. Let's see who else is here. Simon's here. Let's wait for a couple more to get in. I should actually text Jimmy from Philly. Where the hell is he? Hang on a sec. 267. I don't want to give his phone number out, but that's what I know. Streaming. He'll be in. Oh, he had a hell of a story. Maybe I'll bring him on so he could tell his story, what happened to him this week. It's crazy, man. But yeah, thank you, sir. Hit that like button. Yeah, if you can, do me a favor and hit that like button because it helps us a lot. Let's see. Let's hit that right there. All right. We got a lot of stuff going on. Let me see. Who's hitting me up? Oh, cool. On the show. Maybe in a bit. Cool. All right, let's see. What do we got? All right. So tonight, a lot of news again. Let's go down what we're doing. All right. Top stories. Trump and Charles just shared one of the most brilliant moments of diplomacy history. And I put this up for our friends across the pond because I thought this was class. Well, I don't know how you guys think of the king, but I just thought this was real class moment that he did. Here we go. Pardon or not, there's one very dire reason why Fauci must be charged, and quickly, because the statute's probably running out. Numbers don't lie. The Biden regime caught red-handed unleashing lawfare on conservatives. Democratic Party planning May Day events with communist groups. They're never going to get over this, right? They're just not going to get away from all the commies, right? Here we go. There's a lovely mug that you too can own. Here we go. Iran is losing this war, and the global balance of power is shifting. We're going to explain how. There's very Jake Tapper. Remember when Trump used to call it very fake CNN, very fake news? I call him very, very Jake Tapper ever since. It says, look what dirtbag reporters were doing while the shots were fired. You're gonna love that, right? 5 million 5 million voter registrations found in New York State with identical signatures. No, no, it never happened. Say it would never happen. Clowns to the left of me, clowns to the right. Yeah, here we go. All right, so Biden attorneys targeted peaceful nuns at a rally for prosecution because of their habit headdresses. Are you shitting me? All right, so game-changing SCOTUS ruling. Republicans poised to dominate 2026 House map, and they are. We'll go over that. That's the theme for this week, guys. I got a lot to talk about that. If you've been with me, you know that I've been talking about the Calais case. So corruption on a larger scale than Watergate just happened right under our noses. That's a good one. The left is melting down over the Calais case. I'm telling you, they're losing it. They're going to lose between 12 and 18 seats. Some of them before this midterm, but I think most of them next because they'll claim, oh, we don't have time. Some rhino states. But yeah, we're going to do fine. Ozempic is changing more than waistlines. I tried to tell that to people that are taking that it's doing not so nice things. California's primary election season screams warning for nation. Tom Steyer. This guy is a believer. He's a total leftist lunatic billionaire. No one is more unyielding than the person with a hate has no home here lawn sign. Let's see. The left-wing media finally met the monster it created. Barack Obama weighs in on Supreme Court gutting Voting Rights Act by striking down Louisiana's racially gerrymandered map, and it instantly backfires. Yeah, because he was in on a lot of it. Like he told a lot of states to gerrymander through race, because what they did is it was Thornburg v. Gingles, and I believe that was it. Yeah, it was Thornburg v. Gingles, 1986. What it did was it talked about the Voting Rights Act, Section 2. And basically, it said the court then bought into the whole idea of voter dilution. So, in other words, if there were, I know you do, guys. This is Allison. I'm going to try to get her on one of these days or tonight. We go way back. We used to battle the libnuts on Facebook in a group that we belong to, but she's been in it longer than I have. She was on Dig, and I had never even heard of it till the other day. So, yeah, I'm going to try to bring her in. Very conservative, very pro-Trump, very pro-America. All right, so I'm going to go back to this. Let's see. Jeffrey Epstein photo dump. We're going to see a photo dump. Okay. You need a cop in Cali? Better hurry, because their 911 system is about to go belly up because it's California. All right. Dan Bongino set leak traps inside the FBI to expose rogue agents undermining leadership. It's pretty smart the way he did it. Marsha Blackburn, senator from Tennessee, she calls Tennessee lawmakers to redraw congressional districts with 9-0 Republican map. Now, everybody's turning around saying, oh, you guys did it to yourselves. Ha, 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 because of Virginia, right? Because they went from 6-5, 6 Democrats to 5, or to 5 Republicans to 10-1, right? So they said, well, you guys started it. Well, no, we didn't start it with Texas. Texas responded to New York. Okay, New York did that shit. And the thing is, Texas did it legally. New York did not, and neither did Virginia. Okay, so New York, they had a commission just like California. Gavin Newsom didn't want to do his legally either. These Democrats, they boxed themselves into a corner by saying, all right, we're going to create these commissions they're independent, and they're the ones that are going to deal with gerrymandering, drawing the lines, all that crap, right? And then the minute they find themselves in trouble because the people of their state don't want them in charge anymore, they go, screw it, we don't need you. We're just going to have the legislature do it anyway. And that's what Hochul did. That's what Newsom did. And so it turns out Texas just took it upon themselves to do it. And then the Democrats, especially Mr. Hakeem Jeffrey, it's like your Hakeem Jeffrey. He went on CNN and did an interview, and he says, yeah, well, they got the guts. They got the gall to actually do gerrymander redistricting mid-decade. And the CNN guy didn't even skip a beat. He goes, yeah, well, you guys did that during Obama. So what are you talking about? And he just looked at him and he shrugged it off and went on to the next topic because he's the loser. We say, hey, what's up, Louie? Good to see you. 42. How you doing, brother? Yeah, 42's here, guys. He's the Irish poet patriot. And the link to his channel is in the description. Please go sub him if you haven't. I think everybody here has, but maybe not Allison. But so do me a favor, guys. You will love his streams. I do every time because he does mostly a lot of history of the UK, and it's wonderful stuff. It's some of the stuff I know, but most of it I don't. I always learn something when I watch his streams. He's on Saturday nights. If you're East Coast, he's Saturday nights. You're back to 5:30 Saturday nights, right? You're back to the normal time, 40. Is that true? I think he is. So it would be like 5:30 Eastern time, I believe, because they had a little thing over there with the time when they changed. So let's see what's going on. Everybody's all right, cool. People are starting to come in. Nice. So let's see. House Democrat morons push $25 federal minimum wage. Like that's going to happen. See what they're doing now is they're trying to say, well, this is what's going to happen if we get in. We're going to throw lawfare at everybody. We're going to take out your most favorite president, and we're going to go for a $25 federal minimum wage because we know you're so stupid. You're going to think you're going to get it, right? And the only reason why they ever do minimum wage increases is to pay back the unions for all the dues money that they threw at them, because the unions tie their wages to the minimum wage. So if the minimum wage goes up 20%, the little guy gets $1.25. Woohoo! Don't spend it all in one place. But they, at their already inflated salaries, they get a lot more money, and that's why they do it. But they want to tell you it's for the little guy. That's what they try to tell you. Anglo, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see everybody, really. Let me see who else is here. Yeah. All right, so let's get through this. Democrats under fire as 34,000 dead people found on North Carolina's voter rolls. We always said that the Democrats did really well with the dead demographic, right? Here we go. Democrat Senate candidate caught trashing her own state. There was some tweets that came up. U.S. economy rebounds with 2% growth in the first quarter, which is nice, but you're not going to hear that from anybody because gasoline's still way too high. Rand Paul introduces amendment to end birthright citizenship. I think that's the way that we had to go. The court, I don't know how they're going to rule on it, but the only true way to rule on it is Trump is right again. Let's see. Pressure on DOJ to prosecute Anthony Fauci grows after an advisor indicted with days left to charge COVID lies. So that's what that whole thing was earlier that I read, the headline that I read. They say we have an urgency to get him because the statute's running out. Supreme Court strikes down Louisiana's congressional map in a major voting rights. That's the first one I'm going to read on that story. Supreme Court issues landmark ruling for the Voting Rights Act. 4 things to know about that one. And we have FBI Director X, James Comey, indicted again for threatening to kill Trump in his 8647 Instagram post. And the libnuts are already out there going, no, these idiots, they let him go they already let him go and he didn't have to post bail or anything. Well, so what? He was a former FBI director. He's not going anywhere. Who cares? That doesn't mean anything, right? Minnesota lawmakers unload on Waltz's legacy after he touts fraud record in final annual address. It's ridiculous. Here you go, guys. For you Epstein fans, Jeffrey Epstein wrote a suicide note weeks before his death, but it's hidden away in a courthouse. Why? I want to know that one. U.S. seeks to deploy $15 million Dark Eagle hypersonic missile for first time against Iran. So now, when they just announced we have a hypersonic missile, Russia and China are like, crap, because they had them and they thought they had something on us. God bless Trump. Medicaid withholds additional $91 million in funding for Minnesota because of the fraud. Trump admin is axing 3 Biden gun regulations. That's important because he never bragged about it. that he did the gun. And he said, what the fuck? Woman tried to recruit assassins to kill Trump, walks free days after third assassination attempt. We got to get into that one. The House unanimously approves bill to end the 76-day Schumer DHS shutdown, sending the measure to Trump. OPEC's end will be a win for humanity and America. Another Trump miracle. Yeah, he's talking about getting rid because Saudi got out. And he's talking about ending OPEC, which was the overseas petroleum, whatever. I don't know. I forget. But it's where years ago there was an Exxon executive who found a loophole in the oil contracts and said, oh, wow, look at this. We could save like $50 billion a year or something like that, 50 million. And they did it. And then when the other oil companies found out, they're like, oh, we're going to do it too. And the Arabs got pissed. And so they said, no, we're going to control the price ourselves, even though we gave them all the equipment and showed them how to pump it. News, Supreme Court ruling, election cast vote records must be made public. Verity vote and plaintiffs win. Gateway Pundit. FBI raids Minnesota daycares in fraud investigation. Then we got the plethora up top of all the other crap that's going on. Let me see. Did I miss anyone? Wait, how do we know Epstein actually did right? I don't think he did, because he killed himself, right? Yeah, all right. There is no OPEC without Saudi Arabia. I know, that's why they're saying it's going to end. Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so let's go. All right, let's start. I'm going to go with this one first. Like, I don't know how to do the king, but this was a class moment. I really liked this. So it says, Trump and Charles just shared one of the most brilliant moments of diplomacy in history. All right, let's go on this. Here we go. So there are big diplomatic moments that happen all the time. Moments with treaties, trade deals, and stiff, boring old speeches nobody remembers 10 minutes later. Joe Biden. And then there are moments like this. President Trump and King Charles just shared one of those very rare public moments that managed to be funny, symbolic, historic, and genuinely warm all at one time. During the King's state visit to the U.S., King Charles really went deep into the long, complicated, and sometimes hilarious relationship America and Britain, while also making between America and Britain, while also making the case for a future where the two countries stay close. That's because Trump is destroying their globalist, elitist economic policies where they screwed everybody but themselves. That's pretty bad. It's your government, guys, not you. You know, we love you. That's pretty big stuff, especially right now when our closeness with the UK is at an all-time low. Yeah, because they're treating you guys like crap with the censorship and everything else. And you know, you got all those illegals in there. Well, they're not illegals, are they? They made them legal, but they don't contribute, nothing. Most Americans aren't exactly thrilled with where the UK is heading right now. The leadership is a globalist mess. The country feels politically upside down, and a lot of and you know, you guys were a hell of an empire. Let me just say that, and they're destroying it. All right, that's enough of that. So let me get down to the video. I'm going to take it straight into, excuse me, straight into X, and we'll get it there.
And speaking of submarine alliances, there was one particular AUKUS predecessor launched from a UK shipyard in 1944 that served for the majority of her life attached to the 4th Submarine Squadron in Australia, playing a critical role during the war in the Pacific. Her name? HMS Trump. So tonight, Mr. President, I'm delighted to present to you as a personal gift the original bell which hung on the conning tower of your valiant namesake. May it stand as a testimony to our nation's shared history and shining future. And should you ever need to get hold of us, or just give us a ring.
I love that. I love that. I know it was a small thing, but I love it. Yeah, I actually like it a lot. Because like anytime somebody who you would think would be totally stuffy, but let's do the next one. I cut out of that, didn't I? Yeah. Let me go back in. Let me see. No, hold on. This is, where is it? All right, let's go here. Share this tab instead. Here we go.
This said, our French friends can feel equally at home with a glance at a map. Indeed, you recently commented, Mr. President, that if it were not for the United States, European countries would be speaking German. Dare I say that if it wasn't for us, you'd be speaking French.
He got him. He's right. Look at Trump. He's like, yep, you got me. I love it. Isn't that awesome, though? See those little things, but you know, it's all in jest. It's fun. So let me see. Are there any others? I hope there's another one. Yeah, there is. Oh no, it's just them laughing, talking together. Cool. Yeah, we don't need to go over that. But that was cool, man. Yeah, I thought so. Oh yeah, I know, man. I know. You guys ruled the world. And then you pissed us off. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. People are sending me stuff. Cool. Oh man, Anglo, thank you, brother. Says, if it wasn't for us, you'd be speaking French. Absolutely, we would be. And the only French I understand is we surrender. That's it. I don't know any other French. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. I love that. So let's go. Reason or not? That is the question. Let's see. I was told I need to slow down between reading. Pardoned or not? There's one very dire reason why Fauci must be charged quickly. And it's true. Look at him. Oh, my. Yeah. Right, prick. The clock is ticking on Anthony Fauci, literally. A new post on X is raising a big red flag about a potential charge against the not-so-good doctor. If it's going to happen, it needs to happen quickly. Time is almost up. If Fauci lied to Congress on May 11th, 2021, which he did, when he lied and said the NIH didn't fund gain-of-function research, which they did, at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, then the 5-year statute of limitations is about to run out on that. That means the window to charge him is closing very fast. And yes, there's the Biden auto pen pardon problem. As we all know, Fauci received that sweeping last-minute pardon covering his COVID conduct, which could make prosecution even harder. But that doesn't mean the Justice Department should just shrug their shoulders and move on. They should charge it. Yeah, Todd Blanche, you listening? They should charge him and see if that auto pen pardon holds. That's the key point. Fauci can raise the pardon as his defense all he wants, and the courts can decide if it protects him. But if DOJ waits too long, the whole thing will die before anyone ever has a chance to answer the real question. And we want to know that. Now, as we know, as we all know, the auto pen pardon question does matter. So does a president, like they say, oh, look, this is the Democrat scumbags. Well, the president always uses an auto pen. Yeah, to sign things like an invitation to a ball or something like that, right? A memo going out, something like that, not to an actual pardon. And remember, in the beginning, it's, oh, yeah, he signed every single one of them. He signed like 2, one for Hunter, and I forget the other one. You know, so that was it. You know, and so if the president, because the power of the pardon is absolute. Yeah, but not when warm diarrhea brains Joe Biden never even read the pardon and then considered it and then signed it. 8,000 pardons over that. Does anyone in this room think that he actually sat with each one? You know, come on, cut me a break. So this is from Hans Munk. All right. There are these names every week, man. There is an important 5-year deadline approaching with respect to charging Fauci for lying to Congress, which he did on May 11th, 2021. You can see his statement below, as well as the statement from Daszak, whatever, that contradicts what Fauci told Congress. The question is whether he should be charged despite his pardon. It is a close call involving multiple factors, including his role in the Morans, Kush, and Daszak case. Probably the safest route is to file charges before the statute of limitations runs out, so the case is timely on the record. Yes, Todd Blanche, what are you waiting for? Because waiting until May 12 would make it impossible. Once charges are filed, Fauci can then raise his pardon as a defense, which the courts would have to resolve. And guys, if the courts said with the auto pen thing that no, they're not, that means we can get Liz Cheney for all her lies, and she did criminal acts too on that committee, the J6 committee, right? Who else can we go after? Everybody that was pardoned, basically, except for Hunter, because he did sign it for him. But I mean, all these people that got like what's his name? The former Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He got a pardon for the things that he did. He committed treason, I thought, when he called his counterpart in China and said, "Don't worry, we're not going to let Trump launch any nukes at you. We'll stop him." What? He really did that. All right, so let's see. What do we got here? Here's a close-up of the image. Dr. Fauci, do you still support funding of the NIH funding in the Wuhan lab? Fauci, Senator Paul, with all due respect, you are entirely and completely incorrect that the NIH has ever. We then had a memo come out from the NIH to Congress saying, yes, we did. And he knew it. So think about it. Peter Daszak, he was from, what was the group? I can't remember the name of the group. I used to write about them all the time. They were a third party that Fauci went to fund the Wuhan. So what happened was, normally when you throw a grant out, when the NIH throws out a grant to somebody, there's a panel they have to go through, and it has to be approved. Well, he bypassed that, and he sent the money to God, I can't remember the name, but it was Peter Daszak. He's the one that ran it, the company, and they funneled it to the Wuhan lab, so that degree of separation, but everybody knew it. So let's see. And now with former Fauci top advisor David Morenz indicted in a very mysterious sealed case sitting on the docket, the possibility of real COVID accountability could be happening. There has to be a reckoning, guys. All of us in this room, there has to be a reckoning before we'll ever start to trust government again. There was nothing funny, black or otherwise, about what these so-called experts did to American families and businesses. And there was certainly nothing humorous about what happened in 2020. Of course, Fauci's team had some chuckles, but there's more to this story than one indictment. In fact, a new post on X claims there's another co-conspirator. Even more interesting, there's a secret sealed case on the docket, which could signal that one or more people may also be facing charges. Look at this. Filed and entered, indictment sealed, yada, yada, initial appearance. Yay. Okay. So what was that? Hold on. I got to know. Was it Peter Daszak? It didn't do it. Peter D-A-S-C. Peter Daszak. What was the company? He was a British zoologist. What? No, he wasn't. Not him. Forget it. I will never get to it. So you can read the full article here. We're not going to do that. Given the statute that's about to run out, that sealed case has a lot of people wondering if Fauci's number could be up. With Morenz indicted, Daszak being discussed as a possible co-conspirator and the statute of limitations closing in, this could definitely be more than wishful thinking or internet buzz. It's time to charge Fauci and let the chips fall where they may. Here. I think he needs to go down. What do you guys think? Hey, Linda, what's up? Good to see you. Preemptive pardon sometimes. They burp and myself a preemptive pardon. That's funny. I like that. And found guilty. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah. Let's see. Not for a long time. Also, no longer, have access to people that are vetted for being on message. Yeah. Let's see. Any comments? There you go. Let's see. All right. What's the next one we're going to do? Yeah, numbers don't lie. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll go there. What? Hold on. What the hell? Sorry, got to bring it up. Where is it? There it is. All right, numbers don't lie. Let's share this tab. Yeah, numbers don't lie. The Biden regime caught red-handed unleashing lawfare on conservatives. Absolutely. Like, duh. You know, sometimes the numbers tell the whole, and they got balls on the left, don't they? Saying, you know, well, they're going to use the weaponize the DOJ. Yeah, you mean like you guys did? No, this is called accountability. There's a difference, right? Sometimes the numbers tell the whole story. They don't lie, that's for sure. And in this case, those very true numbers are really brutal. A new DOJ report says Biden's Justice Department, Merrick Garland, pushed for much harsher sentences against pro-life defendants than it did against pro-abortion defendants under the FACE Act. Well, did anybody not see that coming? All right. Let me see. This is what we call lawfare. Biden's DOJ requested an average sentence of 26.8 months for pro-life defendants. When it came to their pro-abortion defendants, they went with much less, 12.3 months. That's a gaping wide gap. And what makes all of this even more insulting is that these very real consequences about political lawfare were brushed aside as right-wing paranoia by the legacy media and left-wing politicians. It's always that way. It's conspiracy theories. All while the evidence and examples just keep piling up. January 6th defendants, President Trump, Douglas Mackey, pro-life activists, presidents at school board meetings, or parents at school board meetings. I never learned to read. Regular Americans who found out the hard way that once the federal government decides you're on the wrong side politically, the full weight of the system can come crashing down on you. And now the numbers to back all that so-called paranoia up. The Biden, this is from Mary Margaret Olohan, whatever. The Biden DOJ requested an average sentence of 26.8 months for pro-life defendants. That compares to the average sentence of 12.3 for Biden requested pro-abortion defendants. But per today's DOJ report on anti-Christian bias, pro-life defendants were ultimately sentenced to an average of 14 months, while the other side was 3 months. We don't need to go through all that again. Let's see. Well. That's the two-tier justice system in one ugly chart. Here we have the same federal law, the same basic category of cases, and completely different treatment depending on which side of the abortion fight, the aisle, the defendant was on. Look, they did the same thing with FEMA. Remember in North Carolina, that devastating hurricane? Well, the Biden administration told FEMA to ignore houses that had Trump signs on their front lawns during the campaign. Can you imagine them doing that? And they did. The report says the Justice Department under former President Warm Diarrhea Brains Joe Biden used the FACE Act, or the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, to launch biased programs and lawsuits against conservatives and Christians who protested abortion. The FACE Act was signed into law more than 30 years ago and prohibits threats, acts of violence, obstruction, or property damage meant to interfere with reproductive health care services, including abortion. How is abortion a reproductive health care service? No one ever asked that. Quote, this department will not tolerate a two-tiered system of justice, Blanche. Good. Todd Blanche, finally, said in a statement announcing the report, no department should conduct selective prosecution based on beliefs. The weaponization that happened under the Biden administration will not happen again as we restore integrity to our prosecutorial system. Well, that's all we need to know. So you guys got that going on over there? Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, my sister's birthday's today. I was looking forward to see if she was in here. Hers is today. Mine is Sunday. My mother's was on the 5th. Mother's Day's in May. My parents' wedding anniversary was in May. I may have a cousin whose birthday was in May. We go broke in May. Yeah. What, the bat flu? Bat flu. Bat flu. All right, let's see. Report Democratic Party plan. Yeah, here we go. There's a bunch of communist events coming up this month. Let's go. So, Breitbart. Report. Democratic Party planning May Day events with communist groups. Look at this. Immigrants. Trump legalized now. All right, whatever. Jesus. Up to 600 communist groups. Why have we not kicked them all out? Up to 600 communist groups and other radical organizations linked to the Democratic Party are mobilizing all over the United States to demonstrate for May Day. Fox News Digital is reporting. Make it a little bigger so I can see it. An investigation by the outlet has identified a sprawling network with a combined annual revenue of $2 billion, organizing some 3,000 protests and events, pushing what the outlet describes as an anti-American agenda. The protesters are urging Americans to skip work, school, and shopping. Well, they'll get the kids in that combination. May Day has its origins in workers' demonstrations in the 19th century. Initially called International Workers' Day in 1890, the event called for worldwide demonstrations in the memory of workers killed in an 1886 protest in Chicago. At the center of the May Day mobilization, which has expanded from earlier indications, is a network of communist, socialist, Marxist, but I repeat myself, and other far-left organizations, but I repeat myself, led by chapters of the Democratic Socialists of America, but I repeat and a network of groups, including the People's Forum, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, Answer Coalition, and Code Pink, funded by an American-born tech tycoon. How come the women in Code Pink are ugly as hell? Neville Roy Singham, based in Shanghai, promoting the propaganda of the Communist Chinese Party. Okay. The Communist Party of the USA has rallied workers to rise against MAGA on May Day, promoting leaflets by the People's World, its Marxist-Leninist publication. The Revolutionary Communist Party has put out a call to dismantle the capitalist imperialist system. They've been saying that shit for decades. The Maoist Communist Union has summoned members to join the anti-imperialist contingent at the New York City protests. Well, they got a communist as a mayor now. Unlike in decades past, the Democratic Party is increasingly associating itself with radical elements, organizing through Indivisible, MoveOn.org, and American Federation of Teachers, and 13 state and local chapters of the Democratic National Committee, as well as, okay, let me look that up, as well as the California Democratic Party, Fox reported. Let's see. The outlet reported protests and events scheduled in D.C., Chicago, and more than 24 other U.S. cities, including Indio, California, where an annual Coachella music festival was held. Okay. One Democrat said the Democratic Party involvement in May Day with the radical groups comes at their own peril. Quote, the increasing willingness of mainstream Democrats to align with extremist socialist groups is a major factor in why the Democratic Party is losing the center more and more. Exactly. And why so many lifelong Democrats find themselves feeling politically homeless. And who was that? Melissa DeRosa. Okay. Yeah, what happened is when you have parties, political parties, and they start like the Democrats, they ran out of ideas. So they just started giving perks away, right? And those perks cost a boatload of money. So they started raising taxes, and then they figured the people were mad at the tax increases, so they went after the rich. Well, the rich already pay their fair share. So the rich, they have one thing that the rest of the people don't, the ability to move and quickly, right? So they were taking their tax money elsewhere, all right? So what happens is they lose their party membership, and they lose elections. So what they started doing, the Democrats, like every other party that has happened to, and it's happened to them all that do this, they then started bringing radical fringe people in, right? And then they have so many people in the radical fringe, they have to start catering to them. Like, you remember when Nancy Pelosi first had to deal with AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Nina, Pinta Santa Maria, Cortez? Well, Cortez treated Nancy Pelosi like she was this aged grandmother who, yeah, all right, grandma, just go away. I don't want to listen to it, right? That's what she did, right? And they treated them like crap, and then more radicals came in. The squad started growing, right? And so what happens after that is more and more of the normies start leaving. And so more and more of the crazies come in. So now the Democratic Party is mostly made up of crazy people. Okay, those left-wing lunatics, you know, the woke and all that crap. And that's what happened to them, and that's why they're losing everything. May Day has a proud history of honoring workers, she continued, but too many Democratic organizations have allowed that tradition to be hijacked by the activist fringe. This is a woman making sense, including groups aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America, pushing a fantasy agenda that has failed everywhere it has been tried. Absolutely. You guys, to my friends across the pond, do you have the same problems over there with a bunch of communists trying to infiltrate your parties? Let's see. May Day. The green man and the god and the goddess are much older than commie May Day. Yeah, exactly. Happy preemptive birthday. Oh, yeah, you said that. Sorry, brother. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you, sir. under one big umbrella. Yeah, they are. They absolutely are. Let me see. Oh, nice. Oh, another nice one. Oh, two nice ones. I got this libnut on Facebook that I started debating today. And he puts these facts that was about Renee Good that got killed in up there. And yes, my birthday is Sunday. Yeah. But anyway, so he's going on saying the officer wasn't hit by her, it was his hand and on it, right? And he goes, I just destroyed you with facts. So I wrote back and I said, well, you must have gotten the fax vaccine as a child because now you don't get fax. And I put the video up and I said, this is the officer in front of her car as she's running into him and knocks him to the side, causing internal bleeding. Moron. Well, now I'm here now and he's like responding to everything. A bloom, bloom, bloom. Oh, man. No problem. Just heard from Pamela. She said, sorry, got to work. That's all right. Let's see what's next. Iran is losing the war. Let's do that one. It's like, no kidding. And the Democrats reached out to Iran and said, just hold out. Just hold out. We'll help you when we get back in, but you're screwing Trump. That's what their thing is. All right, this is a daily signal. Iran is losing the war and the global balance of power is actually shifting. Oh, this is he never stops talking. Well, let's see how long it is. It's 11 minutes. Well, listen, because he's really good. Victor Davis.
Hello, this is Victor Davis Hansen for the Daily Signal. We're approaching 60 days of the so-called Iran war, and we're still getting these loud voices that Donald Trump has failed, that the war is not going well. It's completely non-empirical. It's antithetical to the evidence.
Zero.
Here we are at 60 days, and Iran is losing about 500 million in input per day. It's running out of storage spaces in a week or two for its daily output of oil, at which point they either have to stop pumping, or they're going to have, and if they don't stop pumping, the wells will collapse. They either have to stop pumping, or they have to build as fast as they can storage facilities, which will be known to us and we can take out.
Right.
So they're at the brink economically. They have no military ability. The course of the war, how it ends, is entirely in the hands of the United States. It depends on whether you want an unconditional surrender and you want to pay an extra price, maybe another month or two with economic strangulation, or you want to use air power to take out bridges, and you can do that. What I'm getting at is it's not a military problem like Afghanistan and Helmand province, or the Marines having to go into Fallujah in Iraq. It's entirely a political problem. It's not a military. The military problem has been solved. It's just a question of how much political price does Donald Trump, or risk, I should say, want to take to get an unconditional surrender and the removal of the regime. He doesn't need to do that. That was not one of his pre-war agendas. The pre-war agenda was to neutralize the nuclear proliferation of Iran, the missile and drone force, to attrite its military so it was not capable of conducting war, to stop the subsidies to its terrorist proxies, and to make sure it no longer attacked Americans and our allies as it has for 47 years. Those have mostly been met. Not quite, but mostly. So what are the ripples strategically? Well, just recently, OPEC has announced, I should say, the United Arab Emirates.
Hold on. Thank you, Louis. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks, brother. Really appreciate that. Let's get back to it. I gotta go on the other.
Emirates and perhaps Oman as well, that they don't want to be an OPEC. Thing to remember about OPEC, it was formed in 1973.
I got to come down one of these weeks, bro.
drive up the
hang.
price of oil. And they did that by not pumping what they could pump. So right now they have, each individual country has a quota. That's only about 70 or 80% of what they could pump if they were not in the cartel. That is what the United States is pumping right now, maximum. Russia will probably be pumping maximum very soon. Venezuela will be pumping maximum very soon. But what you're talking about is 2 million barrels maybe from the UAE alone. Maybe if Saudi Arabia gets out, they can pump another 20%. What I'm getting at is the long-range strategic value of the Straits of Hormuz are going to decline, because all of these countries, once they see one person getting out and taking advantage of these high prices, they will swarm to get out. But once they get out and pump more oil, and they're immediately capable of pumping more oil, the price will drop, and the Straits of Hormuz will not be so important. And that
right. Well, we've heard enough. He's really good, but sometimes he just talks so like, hey, what's up, Loaf? Actually, listen to Godfrey Bloom, Colin Douglas McGregor, Chatter. You know, Douglas McGregor, I used to love him, but he's going a bit on the side of Tucker now for some reason. Was interesting. Yeah, he is always interesting to listen to. Yeah, how does one find the time? I know. He's always interesting, but I know it seems like he's turned on Trump. And I think Trump actually knows what he's doing right now, even though the left will beg to differ. Let him beg. Let's see. Let's go back here. Let's do it. Look what dirtbag reporters were doing. This is good. So while the shots are going off and all that, right? I'll read it. I was trying to get past it if there was a good video. Saturday night should have been one of those little smug DC rituals where the media dresses up, congratulates itself, pats itself on the back, and pretends it's the brave guardian of democracy. Yeah. Instead, President Trump had to be rushed out of the White House Correspondents' Dinner after a gunman opened fire at the Washington Hilton, wounding a Secret Service agent who was saved by his protective vest. Trump, Melania, J.D. Vance, and cabinet officials were unharmed, and the suspect is 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen from California. Yet another left-wing violent nutbag hell-bent on assassinating Trump. I like this guy. He was taken into custody, but this crazy story doesn't end with the liberal shooter. It's actually part of a much bigger campaign. For more than 10 years now, yeah, it's about 11 years going on, the same media class that was sitting in that room has helped to create the climate that makes this kind of violent left-wing madness feel inevitable. They've called Trump a fascist, a dictator, Hitler, a king, a threat, a monster, and everything including Satan in a red tie. They've even blamed him for humidity. All right. They've amplified Dem politicians and pundits who tell unstable, mentally ill people day after day that Trump is the next Hitler and America won't survive unless he's stopped. Now, they do this. It's called stochastic terrorism. You demonize the hell out of somebody, and you just hope that it floats around and some lunatic goes, oh, I got to take him out, right? At some point, the dog whistle they've been putting out kicks into gear. When mentally unstable, violent people are told over and over that one man is pure evil, they start thinking they're the hero in this big dramatic story. That's the dirty little truth nobody in that ballroom will ever own. And see, the point is, they can sit back and go, I never told him to go after somebody. No, you actually did with your rhetoric. The media didn't pull the trigger, but they've spent years loading the gun. There you go. Before getting to the chaos inside the ballroom, it's important to remember how we got here. This happened thanks to over a decade of media ghouls and left-wing politicians training viewers, that's the key, to see Trump as an existential threat, not just a political opponent. I think now would be a good time to remind everyone just how bad the rhetoric of the left has gotten.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Fired.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men Most of them
you hear this shit?
radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said,
No,
well, what do
he
you think I
didn't.
should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I don't think you would.
Some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's one of that with Snoop Dogg. Yeah,
Look, as his character
Snoop Dogg
is
loves
stabbed
him
to
now.
death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
You hear this? Look at her. Remember that? She lost her
I
career
have
to that.
thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1,600
And then they sit back and they go, "Gosh, why did they shoot at him?"
Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election
She's talking about the St. George Floyd riots right there.
Day. And that should be, everyone should.
And I think that was the day that she did a shout out to an organization that took donations to bail out rioters. And she came out and said, no, they weren't bailing out rioters. They were bailing out protesters, peaceful protesters. And I was like, you don't arrest peaceful protesters. In America, you're allowed to peacefully protest. That's an American thing. It's in our freaking DNA, but this bitch who went on to be elected vice president actually did a shout out to an org that was getting them out faster so they can go out and create more havoc.
Take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Remember that? Remember all that shit that we went through? And then they got the balls to say that the conservatives are the ones. Hey, what's up, Commander? Good to see you, man. I'll bring you in a little while if you want to come in again, if anybody wants to come in. What's up, Chris? Let's see. Much love back at you, brother. Yep. Here we go. Let's see what the next one is. Let's see. Yeah, there's one. This is great. They go, fraudulent elections is a very rare thing. There we go. 5 million or 1.5 million voter registrations found in New York State with identical signatures. That's the same signature. Here they are overlaid in RGB channels. Every single line matches perfectly. Public records via FOIA. Names fully. You know what it was? They didn't think they would get caught. That's what it is. They didn't think they'd be caught. Yeah, that election is crazy. I'm going to show you something. Ready, guys? Here we go. You guys will find this interesting. Okay, let me bring it over. I'm gonna push this one instead. This is a web page. It's called here'stheevidence.com. Okay, they do several things. Election 2020, COVID-19, and the Capitol protest, January 6th. But for election, okay, this is the evidence. Where do you see this shit? Look at this. And this is nothing. I mean, can I go up? Yeah, this is nothing. Watch this. These are all articles from supposed news things that they didn't think that they were ratting out. Like they were bragging about, well, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court just changed election law to extend it by 3 days. That's a great thing. No, it was what helped the Democrats cheat, right? But look at this. All states, all everything. You could spend 8 days reading all of this data. Okay? Like, look at this. I'm not even halfway through it. But let's just take one. Dominion granted HSB China a security interest in all intellectual property. Wasn't Mike Lindell's movie, The one where at the end he had the map of the world, a flat map. It wasn't a globe, but it was a flat map showing all the Dominion, the main ports of Dominion that were the ones in the districts around them reported through. And you saw lines coming from China, like thousands of them, because they were changing votes. Right? I mean, that's just right there. And so what is it? It's you got email for screenshots. Let's see. Facebook, scoop.co. I used to read them. Stopthecrime.net. There's a lot of actual like ABC, NBC, CBS, voting machine irregularities, right? I mean, it's like, let's see. This is halfway down. Think about it. Look at all this shit. Look at this. Just here alone, we're up to 800 right there alone. Texas judge's mom told she already voted. She did not. And they did everything they could possibly do to win, to defeat Trump. I mean, look at this. It's just unreal. They do the same thing for the lies about COVID and the same thing about January 6th. There they are. I mean, the same shit. You know, here is the evidence.com. Go there after the show. Remember. Dominion Machines, they already take the piss. Yeah, they did take the piss with the names. The thing is, too, like I used to wear the shirt for a few weeks. I wore it that had Dominion's national password to their machines. Mark Davis, guy we bring in all the time, friend of the show. He's a friend of Allison's, too, by the way. Yeah, he found out because he's in the know that down there in Georgia that they discarded a Dominion machine. So they went in and took it out of the trash. 100% legal. You throw something in the trash, Supreme Court's already said it means you gave it up. It's public property. So they grabbed it. They found out what the password is. They found out that which you could be sued, and maybe even charged with a crime in a corporate setting if you did what they did. They didn't even do MD5, which is encryption on your password. Like when you look at a password and you see all those asterisks, that's the law. Actually, they're supposed to do that. They didn't. Why? Who's going to stop them? The politicians, right? So think about it. It's crazy, man, what they did. Yeah, DEF CON. Yeah, they hacked it in under a minute. Yeah, it's exactly right. DEF CON, if you guys don't know, DEF CON it's been on, 20 some years now. And DEF CON is where all the hackers go, wherever they hold it each year. And it's where all the hackers of the world go and they unite. And they have contests. They have people that give speeches, talks, and all that. But a lot of these hackers are not bad people. They're white hackers, and they're white hats, right? Meaning that they're security people that are trying to help companies, get defense against hackers. And so what they do is they have contests. Who can hack this box faster than anybody else and all that. You can win money and all that. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I just said that. Sorry. Yeah, it's where they go, and it's pretty cool. I never went myself. I'm a programmer, and I could get in, but I never went myself. The one year Jack Resider was in there, and I was thinking about going, but it was in Vegas, and I didn't feel like flying all the way out there. But Jack Resider, he runs the podcast. If you're into that stuff, he runs the podcast, which is called Darknet Diaries. Anywhere you can get a podcast, you can get it. It's free, and really good show he puts on. Each week he has a show about something on the dark web or hacker, like real bad hackers. He gets them to interview. They tell their story, after they got out of prison, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But let's see what is next. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, 5 million. I want to go back to that. Yeah, so it was so he's 1.5 million clones. Good Lord. And, they had pointed out, like they did it everywhere. They did it in Detroit, Philadelphia, but in Georgia, they got caught on video. Because the dumbasses didn't realize they were being filmed, where there's a QR code reader and the ballots have a QR code. And so that if they try to put it through again, it goes, nah, don't count it. This one was already, and it'll alert you. Well, Dominion, in their infinite wisdom, allows you to turn that off. So we watched a woman take a stack of ballots, slide them through. She sat there and waited. She pulls them out, puts them in this little box thing that helps her tighten them up again, and puts them through again. She did it like 10 times. It's not what you saw. Your lying eyes didn't see that. Sure, she put them in 10 times, but she didn't cheat. What's wrong with you? That's what they do. So let's go back to here. Clowns to the left of me, American thinker. We don't need a return of late night comedy shows. We have left-wing hypocrisy. The left-wing agenda, hold on, let me bring it up. The left-wing agenda would have been fodder for Don Rickles. Yeah. If America is a systemically racist nation built on stolen lands by xenophobic white supremacists, a land from which elitist leftists vow to emigrate, why advocate open immigration of people of color into such a hostile society? Exactly. If it's such a horrible society, America's so terrible with racism, why are you bringing all them Somalis? Why are you bringing all those people from South America? They got dark skin. You know, think about it. They're just ridiculous. How can the left declare that the Constitution is an outmoded document framed by slave owners and simultaneously assail Trump for violating it? Yeah, exactly. Think about that too. And you want to know something? They always say it's a living, breathing. No, it's not. They say it's a living, breathing document. I say I'm holding a poker game Friday night, and I'm in charge of the rules. It's living, breathing rules. Please bring lots of money. That's what I say to them. They're like, get out of here. But still, think about that. It's a living, breathing. In other words, it says what we wanted to say. No, it doesn't. There are standards. That is a standard. When any constitutional republic uses their constitution as a standard, it means no one's above the law. But then again, no one's beneath the law as well, which they thought Trump was. So are we to believe that the DEI, the left's No Adult Left Behind initiative, will fare better than No Child Left Behind? Why isn't gender-affirming care helping girls be girls instead of helping girls be boys? If guns are the cause of mass shootings, are cars the cause of MVAs, bombs the cause of wars, exams the cause of failing grades? Does work/life balance mean that work is not part of one's life? Is that the position of the feminist movement? I love the feminist movement, especially when I'm walking behind it. If faith must give way to atheism, is not atheism also a faith? The faith that science will eventually explain creation, which it cannot. Why is human-induced global warming settled science? Who settled it? People complain about all that. Climate science is observational. It's true. The only way that they show any proof of it is through computer models. They have no proof in real life. They go, oh, yes, we do. It's right here. Yeah, from a computer model. Shut up, bigot. And cannot declare a conclusive cause and effect relationship between human activity and global warming. Like the man said, past performance is no guarantee of future results. Why are we to accept that socialism is driven by altruism rather than by envy and retribution? Because that's exactly what it is. It's class warfare. How do media, propaganda, cancel culture, identity politics, gerrymandering, open voting, lawfare, and political assassinations help save our democracy? They don't. If the left retaliates to perceived threat with when they go low, we go high, it's retaliating with fuck you, taking the moral high ground. Why are we to view resorting to profanity as an expression of deep resolve and noble resistance rather than simply the flaring of feathers? There we go. Far left ideology is rooted in emotionally based sanctimonious self-righteousness, evolved to counteract feelings of victimization, insecurity, marginalization. Its activism is based in vengeance against elements of the existing social structure that trigger its feelings of subjugation. The dominant role of emotion in its genesis and in its reflective reactions to perceived injustice precludes any possible awareness of its own illogic or hypocrisy. Absolutely true. In other words, libtards make no sense. Or woke-tards, is that what it is? Hey, what's up, Streaky? Good to see you, brother. How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a couple. Good to see you. Let's see, what is next? Let's do this one. Yeah, this is one. It kills me. First Amendment, anyone? So Biden attorneys targeted peaceful nuns at a rally for prosecution because of their head habits. Good Lord. What kind of a person takes one look at nuns peacefully protesting at a rally and calls for first dibs on imprisoning them? Only a Marxist commissar or a Biden administration official from the Jack Smith side of that hate-filled administration. That's true. So from LifeSite News, senior Justice Department prosecutors in the Biden administration privately discussed targeting Catholic nuns for prosecution. It's the latest in a long line of ways Biden attorneys went after pro-life and Christian Americans just because of their faith and views. They never heard of the First Amendment. That particular targeting came after viewing a New York Times photograph of the sisters at the January 6, 2021 Stop the Steal rally. Text messages show. In February 2021, prosecutor Molly Gaston, guilty, text colleague Joseph Cooney, guilty, about the image showing religious sisters in traditional habits, veils, and large Trump scarves. Love it. I would like to take a special assignment of finding and prosecuting them, they said. Wow. Cooney replied, I'm with you, although I'd like to prosecute any nun who still wears the head habit. Ha, 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 Gaston replied, you dipshit. The message is obtained by Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa, Republican from Iowa, as part of his investigation into the Biden Justice Department's Arctic frost probe, have drawn sharp criticism from pro-life and religious liberty advocates who say they reveal deep anti-Catholic bias within the DOJ. Notice that Cooney was triggered by what he called the headdress habit, meaning queef, I think it's queef, wimple and veil, or sometimes cornet, worn by the nuns in traditional attire. It's bizarre that he could not stand the sight of them, and probably indicates a long-time anti-Catholic bias or hatred for traditional Catholics who are growing in numbers throughout the church and who were later targeted. Who were later targeted in Virginia as potential terrorists by Biden's FBI. Can you believe they did this shit? Unreal. Yeah, that's their text. He and his pal Gaston just wanted to prosecute them for their visibly Catholic appearance. Probably had his knuckles cracked too many times with a yardstick by a nun in Catholic school, which all by itself is a rather naked violation of the First Amendment. Yep. And pretty unprofessional for a prosecutor, picking targets based on appearance rather than actual acts. The nuns had been doing nothing wrong at the January 6th rally, nor were they ever accused or charged with crimes in the Biden January 6th prosecutions. The pair just didn't like their religious visibility, so they wanted them jailed. This is the banality of evil. It's people who just don't give a shit anymore. They figure they've got power and they want to go after anybody they can for any reason whatsoever. Think about that. They went after nuns. What do nuns do that's criminal? Seriously. It's not like they're the ones diddling kids. It's valuable that Grassley released this information from his investigation for at least two reasons. One, Democrats have lately been trying to claim the mantle of offended Roman Catholic stalwarts in the wake of President Trump's and Pope Leo's disagreement over the Iran military action. This just proves that they are the same old Catholic haters dating back from the Klan days. Two, the little toad Cooney, along with his sidekick Gaston, I think they are just pals, not lovers like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, is now running for Congress in Virginia's newly gerrymandered 7th district, running on the partisan impeachment platform, obviously no matter what the merits of the charge is given his legal thinking, and hypocritically touting what a law and order family man he is. Wow, I'm not going to read the website. Which kind of leaves a funny taste in the mouth, given his enthusiasm for imprisoning nuns for their appearance. Has anyone asked him about this? Something tells me he'd be an unusually unfit candidate for a congressional seat representing a district that has seen some impressive anti-Catholic persecution in the last 10 years. Yeah, it's unreal. I hear Trump is Jesus now. Not really. That was actually they went nuts over that, didn't they? Actually, the guy that did the meme came out and said, no, what it meant was Trump is healing a Christian nation. That's what the meme actually meant. But the left are just nuts. Zeus. Let me see. What else is going on? Let's see. Let's go. What do you guys think about that? Going at the government, even I don't even think you guys' government would do that. Go after nuns because they didn't like the habits. Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah, I'll put it out in a couple. Actually, I'll put it out now. Hang on. There it is. Let's see. Let's go after this. Game-changing SCOTUS ruling. Yeah, let's read this. So the game-changing SCOTUS ruling, Republicans poised to dominate 2026 House map, but never underestimate the ability of a rhino to screw things up. When the U.S. Is that a pay? Oh, they made it paid. I could talk about it, though. It was the Clay case. What they did, well, we got another one that we'll be reading. I can't. It was open earlier. Now they made it. Let's see. The left is melting down. Yeah, the left is melting down over Clay. Let's do that. The American Spectator. Commander, what's going on, brother?
Hey, misters. What's going on, brother?
What's happening, man?
Well, living the dream, fighting the nightmares,
Yeah. I hear you, man.
Yeah, just, anyways, keep going. I'll be silent for a bit.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
I know folks are, yeah, right. Yeah, I just came in to be quiet.
Yeah. That's all right. You're welcome.
No. Keep going, and we'll discuss things as it goes, right?
All right, brother. Yeah. No worries.
You know what I'm like, so.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so the left is melting down over Calais, which is Louisiana v. Calais. See, the thing is, Louisiana, all right, right? We had the Voting Rights Act in 1965, and then in 1986, Section 2 said that it came out of it saying that they were allowed to, well, it didn't actually say they were allowed to, that the Democrats were allowed to gerrymander or redistrict according to race, because that's illegal. All right, that's unconstitutional. But they did it, and they used that by saying voter dilution. In other words, if there was far less Black American voters than there was the white American voters in their district, they said, well, they just wiped out our vote. Now, that's racist in the beginning, I think, because that's saying that Black people only vote for Black people and white people only vote for white people. If that's the fucking case, then Barack Obama would have never been hired twice. He wouldn't have been elected 2 times.
Right.
Okay. So I mean, that's just bullshit. And I don't like hearing that shit, but guess what? They just ended it. So, and I knew they would. I did several videos on this. I knew they would. So let's see if anybody else. Nope. Let's see. On Wednesday, hold on. I got to send somebody something. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So on Wednesday, what's that?
Sorry. Yeah. Clickety-clack.
I know. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court handed down the decision on a Louisiana racial gerrymandering case that much of the country has been waiting for more than a year. And the decision it handed down couldn't have been a surprise to anyone following the current court's decisions as of late. The case, Louisiana v. Calais, which carries with it an interesting story with a familiar lesson. Pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. There you go. Ever since a successful federal lawsuit in the 1990s, when Louisiana had 8 congressional districts, the state has had just one majority Black district in its congressional map. That number went from 7-1 to 6-1 to 5-1 as Louisiana's population stagnated from the 1990s to the 2000s through the 2010s. But after the 2020 census, when the state's population rang in at about 1/3 Black, and the state legislature passed a 5-1 congressional map, that being 5 white Republicans, meaning members of the House, and 1 Black Democrat, it's exceptionally rare and becoming rarer that a white Democrat can get elected to just about anything, not just in Louisiana, but anywhere in the Deep South. It's true. the NAACP and let me see, the NAACP and a collection of like-minded partisans, Democrats, ran into court alleging that a 5-to-1 map in a state with a population that is 1/3 black is a violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And when they did this, they are the reason why they just lost everything for doing this. They never should have gotten it. The court was wrong. Section 2 is the part of the law which essentially establishes affirmative action for black Democrat politicians. Okay. As interpreted going back decades, 1986 was the Gingles case, Thornburg v. Gingles. It established the idea that racial minorities should be made into majorities where possible. So they had these minority majorities, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, right? Within things like congressional districts so that members of those minority groups could win elections. In other words, we're going to help Democrats win elections. I didn't think it was a black or white thing. I think Democrats have always used black people, okay, for their own power. They shit on them for 400 years. They still shit on them, but they do it, I guess, in a nicer way. But they still shit on them, and they use them. They use them politically, which is why a lot of the more intelligent ones get out. They come to our side or they go independent. And God bless them for seeing the light. So this has not produced particularly outstanding results. And by that, I mean the results it has produced have names like Hank Johnson. You remember Hank Johnson? You remember him, Commander?
Hank Johnson, Jesus.
Yeah, Hank Johnson was the guy. He was a black congressman from Georgia. He's a Democrat. And it was a hearing. There was a hearing about the military wanting to station more men on Guam, the island of Guam. And this idiot, when it was his turn to ask a general a question, he said that he went through the whole thing. He goes, how many miles in length is the island? He said, that's 2 point whatever miles. How many miles width? 1 point whatever at its widest. So he goes, okay. He says, so I think that if we add X amount of soldiers again, that at the end of that island, that could cause the island to tip over and possibly sink. That more people would make an island sink. And he was serious. And I'm sitting there going, this poor general has to sit here and call him sir. And the general sat there and he goes, well, Congressman, there's no concern for that whatsoever. And people were like, oh, no. That was Hank Johnson. He's asked multiple stuff like that. Sheila Jackson Lee, Frederica Wilson, Benny Thompson, Maxine Waters, Dollar Bill Jefferson, Sheila Cherfilus McCormick, Al Green, the guy with the cane, Cori Bush, she's already thrown out, and lots of others. The Congressional Black Caucus has been the repository of crooks, dopes, communists, and reprobates on a scale unmatched by any other, for the express reason that the districts producing the Star Wars cantina scene cast of characters that make up that caucus are protected by the racial gerrymandering. Most people are not fans of this plan. Most people aren't fans of gerrymandering, period. And racial gerrymandering is the most odious kind. And yet, racial gerrymandering was the express demand of the NAACP in their lawsuit after Louisiana drew its 5-to-1 map in 2022. They found an Obama-appointed federal judge in the Middle District of Louisiana named Shelley Dick, who was a dick, and brought their case to her, hitting pay dirt as they did so. Who are you talking to?
This is what happens every Friday. Yeah, be here for a little bit.
I'm going to mute.
No, fuck him.
You need to be doing
Dude. I'm not going to kick him. Let me mute him for a second so that I could read. All right. So let's hold on. All right. So let's see. Where was I before that was over? Okay. So Louisiana, Shelley Dick, and brought their case to hitting pay dirt as they did so. Dick, drawing on a Supreme Court case in Alabama that held the 6-to-1 map, drawn that by that state legislature, with a black population of about 28%, much of it centered in Birmingham and in a corridor between Montgomery and Mobile down in Alabama, which is where Leanne's from, our friend Leanne, was too aggressive to pass muster ruled Louisiana's 5-1 map violated Section 2, and they were wrong. And the Fifth Circuit, not recognizing the differences between the demographics of Louisiana and Alabama, didn't overturn Dick's ruling. Under pressure from the courts, Louisiana's legislature, in a special session in early 2024, passed a 4-2 map. So they caved, that contains an utterly absurd 6th district. It snakes from, I told you guys about how they do this. It snakes from Baton Rouge in the southeastern part of the state to Shreveport in the northwest part of the state. And everything in between is nothing. So you got a city here of black voters and a city here of black voters. So they linked the two of them. Like the district for like 10 miles is like the width of the road. So if you're walking you're in a different district, right? So that's what they did, which is just utterly ridiculous, right? So it says it snakes from Baton Rouge in the southeastern part to the northwest. Cleo Fields, who ironically was the congressman from the old 8th district that was racially gerrymandered Horseshack test. That's what it Horseshack test. That's what it looked like, of a district. The courts threw out in the 1990s, got himself elected in the newly black 6th district. Then along came Burt Calais and several of his friends who sued the state. Here it is. Who sued the state in the Western District of Louisiana, claiming their 14th Amendment equal protection rights. Well, they said 14th and 15th. That's not mentioned here. Rights were being violated by racially gerrymandered district map. Calais won at the district court level. The case had bubbled up ever since. Last year, it was heard at the Supreme Court, but it wasn't decided. Calais was originally argued on 14th Amendment grounds and not on the question of whether Section 2 needed to be thrown out. That question was called back for a rehearing last fall, and then the court somewhat suspiciously sat on the case until Wednesday. Now, here's why we found that out. Here's what we found out. The 3 ladies of the View on the Supreme Court, I call them the 3 ladies of the View, the libnuts on there, they were slow walking it. So that's why because they wanted it to go too far. They wanted to hold the case. See, what happens is you got to turn your vote in, right? So the Chief Justice tells you, all right, turn your votes in. They didn't turn them in, and he kept going to them. What are you doing? You got to turn them in, right? They wanted to hold it off until after the midterms because they wanted. This is Supreme Court justices. 3 of these bitches tried to help the Democrats win in an election by delaying it. So rumor has it that Elena Kagan delayed writing her dissent for several months in order to cause a Purcell problem in Louisiana and other southern states who would redistrict their congressional maps if unfettered by the old interpretation of Section 2. Purcell being a Supreme Court doctrine that court cases decided too close to elections can't be allowed to interfere with those elections. The effect of which, in this case, being that while Fields' gerrymandered district is going away, conventional wisdom suggests he could end up with 2 more years in Congress because candidates have already qualified and the primary elections are already well underway using the current illegal map. By 2028, the Louisiana legislature will have passed a new 5-1 map, if not a 6-0 map, and Fields will go back to the day job as a lawyer. That was his day job. So Kagan, according to Molly Hemingway's new book about Samuel Alito, which I got to get, has pulled this sort of stunt before. She pulled it after someone, we don't know who, though we can guess, had leaked the draft majority opinion in the Dobbs case, which put the conservative justices in physical danger from the crazies among the pro-abortion crowd, and Kagan held her dissent in that case even after being asked to hurry up. Elena Kagan is a nasty piece of work, so you'll know she is. Perhaps too smart by half. Wednesday afternoon, word had it in Louisiana that lawyers for the plaintiffs were going to seek an injunction against the map, forcing a judicial resolution of the issue based on the Supreme Court calling it illegal. Should that effort include references to Kagan's deliberate bad faith dilatory tactics, there might not be enough popcorn in America to satisfy the spike in demand. I haven't seen polling on Calais, but it's my guess that most Americans are fine with the reasoning of the court's 6-3 majority that drawing districts solely on racial line, and you should have heard the ladies from The View on the Supreme Court, their arguments during oral arguments. I mean, they were trying to justify racism. Even the black one. I mean, they were trying to justify racism. It's unbelievable. The court has long held that pure, naked politics isn't illegitimate in map making of this sort. And that's a good thing for Democrats in states like Massachusetts, New York, Illinois, Maryland, and California, where they've gone to extraordinary lengths to disenfranchise their Republican voters. Now it's a good thing for states like Texas and Florida, which are Florida just gerrymandering. We got 2 more seats from them, are moving to create very, very advantageous maps reflecting the political power of the GOP majority at both the ballot box and in the state legislature. Yeah, Florida's solid red. Other southern states will almost certainly follow suit by 2028, Louisiana being one of them. And the Democrats are absolutely melting down over this development. For example, Angie Nixon, a Florida state representative, very unhappy about the state's House of Representatives holding a lopsided vote in favor of a new congressional map that will flip 4. I heard it was 2. 4 Democrat seats to the GOP this fall. Let's watch. Look at this. I'd grab that thing.
Representative Persons Mullica has waived closed. The question now recurs on final passage of HB 1D. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
83 yeas, 28 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes. Read the next bill.
None on the desk, Mr. Speaker.
You're not allowed to do that, but you know what? She got away with it. I think we all know why. It's just Democrats are just crazy. They just are. So they are freaking out over this. And you know what? It's legal. It's the law. You can't have racist gerrymandering. What you talking about, Willis? Yeah. Let me see. As per spiffy is a nicer word. I don't use that. Squiffy. Yeah, the Republic is over if we allow them to win. Oh, yeah. If they win, forget about it. Yeah, I honestly don't think they will. You know what? I think currently, before all this happened, we were down by 1. They're supposed to be up by like between 20 and 50 seats. That's normal history. They were up by 1, and we still and then we heard the Louisiana case, and then Tennessee's doing it. They're redistricting. Florida just did it. I thought it was 2. Here it's 4. So we could go in there. We could go in there with 226 just starting out. You need 218 members of the House in order to win the majority, right? And right now, it was like in the end, it was like 218 to 216, and we have a lot of rhinos that we had to kiss their ass in order to win anything on the votes. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. No. Here we go. Is this about the guy? No, I think we read that. Obama. Yeah, let's Obama. He's crying. Let me see. Barack Obama weighs in on Supreme Court gutting. He gutted them. The Voting Rights Act by striking down Louisiana's racially gerrymandered map, and it instantly backfires. There's got to be a video. Come on, where's the video? Come on, where's the video? Where's the video? Where's the video? There's no video. Oh my God, there's no video. There's no video. Oh no! All right, I'm gonna have to read. Damn it! Gosh darn it! Like what I did there. Former President Barack Obama lashed out at the United States Supreme Court for crippling the racial gerrymandering schemes practiced by his party, and Americans were quick to put them in place. I love this. As the Gateway Pundit reported, the Supreme Court issued the 6-3 ruling on Wednesday, correctly declaring Louisiana's new drawn Democrat-friendly congressional map as unconstitutional racial gerrymandering. The case, State of Louisiana v. Philip Clay, and related press Robinson v. Philip Clay, stems from Louisiana's cowardly lawmakers caving to activist left-wing judges and creating a second majority-minority congressional district designed to elect a Democrat. While the decision does not abolish the Voting Rights Act or Section 2, ABC News notes that It raises the bar for challenges to election maps that liberal critics claim limit the ability of minority voters to elect candidates of their choosing. See, here's the thing. They don't like losing. Nobody, think about this. Nobody took away anybody's ability to vote for who they wanted to win. Okay? Nobody did. Nobody did. It's just that they lost and they don't like losing because there's not enough of them. Because apparently, I mean, this is what I hear. Conservative black voters do not do this. And I know this for a fact. But Democrat liberal do. They vote for the black person. They just do. That's the way it is. It's the way it's always been. The liberals only. And so they think that, well, if we stick together as a group and we vote for our candidate, we should win. Well, we didn't win. Ah, that's racist. I mean, that's what they did. They came up with the bullshit story of voter dilution, right? That's what they did. And now it's coming back to haunt them because it was wrong. It was unconstitutional. The law says you're not allowed to do discriminatory practices in districts. And that's what they did. Leftist Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan whined in her dissent, right? We just read that. If other states follow Louisiana's lead, she added, the minority citizens residing there will no longer have an equal opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. There's no such thing as a fucking equal opportunity. I'm sorry, guys. The way it works is whoever gets the most votes wins in a state like that. In state elections for the House, that's how it works. If you don't have enough people, get more people to move in or move where there are more of your people. If that's how you want to live, but they're literally advocating for, I mean, think about that. The minority citizens residing there will no longer have an equal opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Whoever said that politics is a blood sport? Whoever said that there's an equal opportunity to elect who you want? You elect who you want. You vote for who you want. If he doesn't get enough votes, tough shit. That's the way it is. Obama agreed with Kagan. Of course he did. Oh, see, Kagan, I don't think she was put on the Supreme Court for Obamacare. That's a fact. He cut a deal with her saying, I will nominate you and get you on the Supreme Court, lifetime appointment, but you have to defend Obamacare if it comes before the court. And she said, yeah. Now, how do we know that? Because Elena Kagan was the Solicitor General of the United States prior to being nominated for the Supreme Court. Solicitor General of the United States is the lawyer for the United States. So, in other words, if it goes to court, okay, if Obamacare goes to court, she wrote the government's response, their defense. She should have recused herself, and she didn't. Yeah, she should have, and she didn't. Let me see. Somebody sent me something. Play this video. Oh, there it is. Let me see. What video? There's no video. I didn't get a video. Yeah, I didn't get a video. Sorry. Okay, let me go back to it. Sorry, guys. I get people to send me stuff to hold, which is awesome, but sometimes it distracts me. Let me see. Obama agreed with Kagan. One more time. Sorry, guys. Let's see. So Obama agreed with Kagan. Yeah, she should have recused herself. She never did. That the VRA, the Voting Rights Act, was gutted and slammed the court for not only weakening minority voting power, but abandoning its vital role in ensuring equal protection in our democracy. Bullshit. Bullshit. There's a thing. See, equal protection would be, well, you can't act like a Democrat and create taxes or say you can't vote because you're black. I mean, that's what the Voting Rights Act was protecting. Like evil things that Democrats did, right? And so then they took the Gingles case based on the Voting Rights Act, the Section 2, and they bastardized the ruling. The ruling never said that you can see. If I had a Venn diagram, there's 3 circles, right? And they all meet in the center. Okay, so each one is a district. So you got a small district of blacks in each of the each thing that's section of the circle, but in each part of that circle is the rest of them, and it's white people. So they're outnumbered. Okay. So that what they did is they took each black section of the circles and they combined them all, ridiculous as that sounds, because some went 200 miles. The district was 200 miles long. Can you believe this? Down a road, like I said. And they did that just to get a member of Congress. And why do Democrats think that only a black member of Congress will do something for their black constituents? Where did that come from? And that white members of Congress won't do, by their thinking, then Barack Obama did absolutely nothing for white people. He actually did absolutely nothing for black Americans, right? But think about that. Think about how freaking racist that way of thinking is. Today's Supreme Court decision effectively guts a key pillar of the Voting Rights Act, freeing state legislatures to gerrymander legislative districts to systematically dilute, there's the word, dilute, and weaken the voting power of racial minorities, so long as they do it under the guise of partisanship rather than explicit racial bias. That's exactly right. You're allowed to gerrymander based on political reasons. And if both parties, when they're in charge of a state legislature, they gerrymander. Trust me, they do it. Every one of them does. Both sides do it. But Republicans don't do it based on race. Never did. Democrats always did. Remember, Democrats never changed their position on black Americans. They just made it look like they did. While Republicans never changed their position on civil rights. They never did, because they always still vote for civil rights every single time. And quote, and it serves as just one more, and it serves as just one more example of how a majority of current court cases intent on abandoning its vital role in ensuring equal protection in our democracy and protecting the rights of minority groups against majority overreach. You know what? I forgot about. Commander left. Commander, come on back in. I forgot you had a guy on in the background and I had to mute you for a second and I was reading. I didn't see. Come on back in. Right. So the majority was overreach. The good news is that such setbacks can be overcome, but that will only happen if citizens across the country who cherish our democratic ideals. It's not a democratic ideal to cheat with racial gerrymandering, Barry. It just isn't. Ideals continue to mobilize and vote in record numbers, not just in the upcoming midterms or in high-profile races, but in every election at every level. What a jackass. So here we go. So that's what he wrote, right? So Americans on X immediately responded, tearing him to shreds. So here's Gunther Eagleman, who I like. If you don't know who he is, follow him. Guts a key pillar of voting rights. Translation, how dare they stop us from rigging districts by skin color to keep Democrat seats? Exactly. You spent 8 years dividing America by race, and now you're mad the court finally said equal protection under the law actually means it. Let's see. What does he say in the end? Equal protection under the law actually means equal. Cry harder, Barry. Colorblind justice just won. Racism lost today. That's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. All right, next one. Benny Johnson, who I like him too. You want to create congressional ghettos using black people as pawns to rig power for more race communism. If white people were doing the same thing, you'd burn cities down. It's wrong, illegal, and unconstitutional. In a republic, we have rule of law, not rule of race. Exactly. George, this guy too. Behizzy tweets. If you can find him, follow him. This guy's really good. All right, he has really good analysis and he does good videos too. It's literally racist to require states to consider race when drawing districts. You're just mad that the stranglehold Democrats have on black votes is now going to be irrelevant in future elections. Hear, hear. I meme, therefore I am. This guy's good too. Hit like if you think Obama was the biggest race baiter there is. He got 7,700. The race baiter there and still uses minorities as pawns. Yeah. Here's Cipolla. The Voting Rights Act is discriminatory in its core and allows states to redistrict based solely on skin color. It doesn't get more racist than that. It's no surprise that the most racist and divisive president in black history, Barack Obama, would support that. He was very divisive in our country. Matt Van Swal, you have absolutely lost your mind. You were the guy who was supposed to get us past sorting people by race. You said Judge people by character, not color. Now you're calling it voter suppression when the court strikes down a district drawn entirely by skin color. He's right. Yeah, see that? Look at these districts. District 5, 6, 5. Look at it. There. Holy crap. So we go. Nietzsche Capital LLC. Meanwhile, literally 8 days ago, when the Dems did the same effing thing, laughed my ass off. They did. Here we go. Springfield. I don't know what that was all about. But yeah, so people, the good news is people are catching on to this crap. They just are. Yeah, so let's go back to the drawing board. Come on, mouse. Don't fail me now. There we go. Let me get some good ones. Let me go up. Let's see. Pit bulls. Yeah, this is good.
And they're activated and your face is torn off. Theo's like, he's such a sweet boy. Anyone knows dogs. Like, he's a classic lab. He loves everyone, wants to play with everyone, but I won't let him play with pits. Because the thing is, pit bulls are like Muslims.
There you go. Wait for it.
By the way, the few people who aren't excited about this are the pit bull owners in this room. Listen, they're not all violent.
That's funny.
Most of them aren't, but somehow almost every violent attack happens with them. They're like the Al-Qaeda sleeper cell of dogs, you know? You'll see a pet for years, so happy, so sweet, and then they get a signal that we don't see, and they're activated, and your face is torn off. And then you have some liberal white woman defending it, saying that you shouldn't put it down, and that somehow it was your fault. They're like, well, all the ones that I grew up with were super peaceful. Great, we should put them in our dog parks because it worked out so well in all the other dog parks, right? This is a breed that was they made it just recently. It's meant for illegal fighting. And we have to pretend that all those years of inbreeding and raising them from a young age to fight, like that just goes away and suddenly they're westernized, domesticated.
Westernized.
You have to wonder if it's a practicing pit. And this isn't a metaphor for anything.
Yeah, that was kind of, I like that. That was funny. Let's see. Selective breeding for particular physiological and psychological traits has different outcomes. Color me shocked. Yeah, she was. She was awesome. Let me see. Oh, I didn't even see this one. Thank you, brother. Nice to see Trump talk about the Anglo-Saxons. Yeah. I think Trump's family, are they from Germany? I forget. I thought one was from Sweden and the other one was Germany. I forget. Let me see what else we got. Gavin McInnes, even White's obsession over skin puts incompetent people in positions they shouldn't be in. Fires back. Oh, this is great. Pete Hegseth, right? Elizabeth Warren, chief crazy bitch. She goes, oh, Scotland. Was it Scotland? Hey, what's up, Billy? Good to see you, man. Let's see. There we go. This is great. So she's trying to nail Hegseth on something. They hate Hegseth because they changed it from Department of Defense to Department of War because it was the War Department up until the liberals got control of it, the modern day liberals. And he runs it like the military. The military has two purposes, and that is to kill people and to break things. There's no other purpose. It's not a fucking social club. She wants it to be a social club. So where do you hear this? This is great.
Secretary Hegseth.
Oh, it's low.
Do you have any explanation for these perfectly timed spikes in trading activity other than insider trading?
Senator, all I can tell you is that everything we've done in our department, everything we've done with information, in working with the White House and across the interagency has been completely above board.
Well, so what does it mean? Do you have any other explanation other than insider trading? Do you have a story for why just minutes before there's an announcement, there's a surge in trading activity?
Senator, I'm more than focused on doing my job and ensuring we execute properly, which thankfully under this administration, our troops have done incredible things in all these missions. My job in all of those moments is to make sure we're prepared. And that's part of the reason why we've been so successful in these raids, in these efforts, is that this joint force is prepared.
You're saying you're not paying any attention to this insider trading. Is that what you're telling me? That you've paid no attention to this? You haven't noticed it? You haven't done anything about it?
What I'm saying is we're focused on our mission of executing for the American people, and what happens in markets is not,
it's not his purview.
Is not
Look at
something we're involved in.
What happens in betting markets doesn't matter to you, even if the information may be coming from insiders in your office?
Who gives a shit?
Senator, it's not something we're involved in at all. And of course, we take operational security at every level very seriously. In fact, no one's taken operational security more seriously than us. If you look at what it required to keep secret Midnight Hammer and Operation Maduro, the absolute resolve with Maduro, and the steps we've taken,
So,
no one's been tighter about ensuring that operational security is ensured.
To deal with insider trading out of your office?
Well, listen,
we would ensure at every level that
Okay.
inside information
I
is
take that as a no.
properly safeguarded.
All right.
take that
Well,
as a no,
obviously
she
you're
said.
not. I'm also concerned about
go.
recent
Here's the
reporting
zinger.
on your own financial dealings with regard to profiting
Look at
from
him
the war
laughing at
in
her.
Iran. The Financial Times reported that your broker tried to buy hundreds of shares in a BlackRock fund invested in defense companies just before the war began.
Yeah.
The law clearly prohibits the Secretary of
That entire
Defense.
story is false, has been from the
Let me
beginning,
finish
and
my
was made up out of whole cloth. And anybody that looks at it sees
The
how it was
law-
worded from the beginning to make it look like I was involved in something I had nothing to do and never have.
The
So any
law-
insinuation that I've ever profited other than serving this nation, what I give, what you give, what others give, I'm not looking for money. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for profit. I don't do it for stocks. And that's part of the reason why I'm able to be effective in this job, because
Then
no
let
one
me
owns
ask
me.
my
No one owns this
question,
department. No one
Secretary
owns this
Exec.
president, and we
Let
can
me
execute
ask
for the
my
American people,
question.
and we
Now your
do.
time's
law
up.
Clearly prohibits the Secretary of Defense from owning stock in the 10 biggest defense contractors.
When you hear this,
Other senators and I sent you a letter with detailed questions about this, and you have not given.
see, this is what they do. They'll say, all right, we want to bust his balls so that the American people think he's dirty. So we sent a letter saying we want you to prove that you didn't commit these types of rule violations. It's like, why? Why do I have to do that? I didn't commit those kinds of. Where did you get your evidence? But they don't care because the damage will be done. He's not letting it happen.
Given us a response. So I'd like to hear
Watch
you
this,
say,
how he answers her.
did you, through
He's
your
laughing
broker
at her.
Morgan Stanley or otherwise,
I love this
seek
guy.
to invest in any defense-related funds right before Trump started the Iran war?
Watch this.
I'll give it to you as a big, fat negative.
Then let me ask you a second question. Is your broker getting your personal sign-off on any investment in individual stocks?
Bigger,
or
fatter, negative.
He's not getting your sign-off before he makes investments in defense stocks? Can I refer you to your
I'm not making
ethics
investments,
agreement?
Senator.
I am asking, does he know that he has to get your sign-off before he does that?
Of course.
The
I don't know
time
what
of
you're
the-
looking for. but
Yeah.
you-
Now, let me tell you something about Chief Crazy Bitch here, right? When before her husband died and she took his seat, okay, she was hired by Congress to write laws that made it tougher for corporations, those giant corporations, how she says it, it makes it tougher for corporations to go bankrupt, okay? And so she worked for them. She got paid like $500,000 to create this bill. Then after it passed, and I think Clinton signed into law, I think it was Clinton, she then whored herself out to these giant corporations to tell them that for a fee, she would teach them how to get around the law. That's the woman that's just trying to trap one of the best secretaries of war we've ever had. as far as results, right? It's crazy, but that's what we have. So let me go back down. What do we have here? We got a little bit of Epstein photo dump. Here we are. Let's see, can I get it any larger? No, I can't. So let's go here. Oh, look at that. It's Bill, and there's a young girl. She's redacted. Oh, damn. Right. Here we go. It's Bill again. I was never there in that place. I don't know anything about young women. Shazam! I don't know anything. Right there. There's the girl, and she's redacted yet again. There is the two of them, right? They show you all pictures of Melania and Trump, and they were hanging out, but they were not really friends. And Melania answered that like 2 weeks ago in a speech. She said, in high society, and she is high society, let's face it, they make millions. In high society, people get drawn to the same parties, and you're going to see them around, and they talk to each other, and people take pictures. She goes, it doesn't mean we're friends, right? Let's see. We got another one. Where is it? Is that? Oh, yeah, it's the same one. Sorry. Here we go. So there's Steve Bannon hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Bannon, who I used to admire until I've learned that he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's see. There he is, the other angle, and there they are there. Steve Bannon, who was the first person that Andrew Breitbart hired, by the way. Let's see what else we got. Wow, there's Michael Jackson and Bill Clinton with the Epsteins. And who's this down here? I don't even know. I think that's Ghislaine up top. I don't know who that is down below. I have no idea. Let's see. Ghislaine, or no, Mick Jagger. Okay. And two redacted people with the pedophile himself. I still don't know who that is. Was that the actor? What the hell's his name? I have no idea. Oh, well. But that was interesting, was it not? They're coming out little by little. Getting questioned, the secretary and the cabinet is yeah, exactly. Therefore, has nada to do with smarts. There you go. You're exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. Let's see. The Iran war has been a disaster. The U.S. Israel is a laughing stock for the world to say. I don't think so, Streaky. They've been destroyed. You should try to get your hamsters appointed to a cabinet position then. How come they're not rubbing off on you? Nick Shirley did a great street interview with a woman who said she lives next door to the NYC apartment of Epstein. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Next one. Need a cop in Cali? Yeah, this is interesting. They screw themselves every single time. Let's see. California is just a big hot mess. Need a cop in California? Better hurry, because the 911 system is about to belly up. You guys have what? 999 in the UK? Is it 999? I think it is. California is one of the richest states in the country, but you want to know something? It's also one of the poorest. California is one of the rich. That's amazing. It's the richest and the poorest. One of them in the country. California is one of the richest states in the country. It's flooded with tax revenue, loaded with resources, and run by politicians like Gavin Newsom, who think they could run the entire country better than President Trump. And yet, the entire state is falling apart at the seams. Crime has gone down, but it's still an issue in many of these liberal-run cities. See, crime was so freaking high until Trump came in and went into cities and started knocking it down. So like, oh, crime's down 25%. Yes, but it was up 75%. So you're still up 50%, moron. The Dems' soft on crime agenda has turned criminals into the victims and left decent citizens to fend for themselves. It's true. Streets in places like San Francisco and Los Angeles look like something out of a third world country. Rolling blackouts, it's true. Human feces on the ground in front of your house, homelessness, and street gangs have become normal. And now, are you ready for this? The latest? It turns out the state's 911 emergency system is about to go belly up. As we know, 911 is the system people call into during the worst moments of their lives. This is the number you call when someone's dying or when your home's being broken into, and when seconds can mean the difference between life and death. And these days in California, that system is breaking down. It really makes you wonder, how does a state with such high taxes and so much power end up unable to keep its emergency lifeline running? Especially when Gavin Newsom is out there trying to sell himself as a future president. I think his wife's going to be the one to take him down. She won't shut her mouth. The situation is actually really bad. We're talking about a system that's aging out, falling apart, and wildly failing, while state leaders burn through hundreds of millions to try to fix it. From Chris Rufo. California's 911 system is on the verge of going dark. The system is experiencing upwards to 62,000 minutes of outages per month. Engineers have to buy old bits of hardware on eBay. And Gavin Newsom, who spent $500 million on a failed upgrade, is making everything worse. Unreal. I'm not reading all that. Let's see. Here's a close-up of it. So the system's very, very old, and now they're trying to upgrade it, but they can't. Because instead of upgrade, they should just buy a whole new system, but they don't want to do that. They want to upgrade. You can read news. So it looks like parts of Cali's emergency system are still running on very old, outdated infrastructure, and some dispatch centers have had zero maintenance in years. Can you imagine? Democrats take money out of things that are supposed to be used to maintain and keep the status quo in systems and departments and whatnot. Nothing's going to go wrong. And they take that risk and they take the money so they could put it into some other program that will buy votes for them from people they make dependent on the government. And then all of a sudden, shit falls down. But you know what? The problem with California is they can't blame a single Republican because there aren't any that in power. They're at the point where some dispatchers are forced to use pen and paper just to keep up. Cali is supposedly one of the most advanced states in the country, and their emergency workers are busting out pen and paper because leadership from Gavin Newsom can't seem to get anything right. And if that doesn't sound wild enough, 5 months ago, after spending $450 million to fix the system, the state decided to stop work. They still want to work on that, 15, 20-year rail system? The monorail, whatever the hell it is, high-speed rail system, and they don't even have any tracks laid enough to run anywhere, right? Let's see what this.
And the state of California spent more than 5 years and $450 million upgrading our aging 911 system, only to overhaul its plan and face spending more time and taxpayer money. ABC10's Becca Hobecker joins us live in studio with more on this tonight. Becca?
Yeah, Alex, the California Office of Emergency Services published a new report this month shedding light on why it paused the statewide rollout of what it calls Next Generation 911. The Sacramento Bee broke this story. And tonight, we show you how much taxpayers have paid so far, what we have to show for it, and how much more this project could cost.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Throughout the state, California has about 450 emergency dispatch centers, also known as public safety answering points or PSAPs. California's overall system, what connects all these emergency services, is more than 50 years old. That's why in his first week as governor in 2019, Gavin Newsom vowed to modernize what he called the state's antiquated 911 system. Cal OES led the charge, choosing a unique regional approach with multiple vendors so an outage in one area wouldn't become an outage statewide. From 2019 to 2024, Cal OES says the state paid more than $450 million upgrading to what it calls Next Generation 911. But earlier this year, Cal OES paused the plan. A newly released Cal OES report sheds light on what happened. The good news, system upgrades are in place at every dispatch center statewide, it says, allowing dispatchers to better pinpoint a caller's location and receive text to 911. However, only 23 of the PSAPs have begun the migration for voice calls, and those 23 centers ran into significant operational disruptions.
Of course, because it's California.
Cal OES found dispatchers had to handle incoming calls from both the old and new systems.
So in other words, it's not going to be fixed, but they're doing their damnedest to make it look like Gavin Newsom knows what he's doing. Yeah, exactly. Let's fuck it up. That's exactly right. So Dan Bongino set leak traps. Yeah, I want to read this one. So Bongino set leak traps inside the FBI to expose rogue agents undermining leadership. Former FBI deputy director, Dan Bongino revealed this week he deliberately planted false scheduling details during his time at the Bureau to identify suspected leakers, describing an agency so fractured that leadership could not trust its own personnel. That's because the left, they screw everything up. Everything. Barack Obama destroyed he corrupted every single department of the federal government. There wasn't one that he did, and Biden did even worse. Or better, depending on what side you're on. Bongino made this admission during an appearance on a podcast hosted by Sean Hannity, offering a rare inside look at what he portrayed as a deeply divided FBI under Director Kash Patel's leadership. Bongino went in there, and for a year, he fought to get the bad agents out, like agents that went political. They went rogue. They did, like the agents... in fact, the agents that all accepted the assignment to go into Mar-a-Lago with guns blazing, because they had orders shoot to kill, right? Including Trump, right? They were all fired. They found out who they were, and they were like, no, you're done. What do you mean? I just did orders. No, you should have refused. You knew that it was lawfare. You knew that a president had the right to have those documents. You knew it, and yet you did it anyway because you wanted to help the Democrats. You got political. You're done. So Bongino described encountering what he called two very different groups within the Bureau. One made up of serious professionals focused on law enforcement, and the other he accused of actively working against leadership. Quote, there were two FBIs trying to help you solve the A, B, and C problems, and that's FBI 1 and FBI 2. And then you had this other FBI, which was populated with, to say, unfortunately, snakes as being nice. He explained that the real challenge was not just the existence of bad actors, but the difficulty in identifying them. And here's the problem, Sean, Bongino said. It wasn't always obvious which FBI they were in. It's true. It was split, and it started back with Bob Mueller. Robert Mueller was the one that started all the crap, like the loyalty tests, the politics inside the FBI. That uncertainty, he added, led to repeated situations where agents believed to be trustworthy appeared to be the source of leaks. It happened a couple of times where they'd say, oh, you can trust John Smith, right? And you trust John Smith. And then a week later, you see a leak in the media and you'd be like, I'm pretty sure that came from John Smith. Yeah, that's how they do it. To combat the issue, Bongino said he began feeding select individuals false but harmless details about his schedule and movements, then monitored whether those details appeared in press reports. So it was like we would play this. We had to play this little game, he said. Bongino did not identify specific agents or media outlets involved, but his account suggests that senior leadership felt compelled to use internal counterintelligence style tactics against its own workforce. How else are you going to weed them out, right? The revelation adds to longstanding concerns about among conservatives, that elements within federal agencies have worked to undermine reforms from within. Turmoil inside. Bongino served as deputy director for nearly a year before departing in January, following a reported dispute with Pam Bondi over the handling of the Epstein files. I said, when he sat there on Fox and said he killed himself, he had a look in his face. I've been a P1 listener to him for years on his podcast and his radio program, and I said he is biting his teeth right now. He's grinding them. You could see it because he hated having to lie, but he was ordered to lie. But you hated it. He hated it. And I could tell. And it bothered him. That's eventually why he left. He didn't like having to do that because he's an honest guy. His tenure, along with Director Kash Patel's leadership, has drawn criticism from opponents, including a report accusing both men of focusing too heavily on media and public relations. Patel has pushed back forcefully, including filing a defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic over claims about his conduct and leadership. The left does anything they can to try to trash you so that people lose faith in you. The Bureau has also undergone significant personnel changes, including the removal of agents tied to investigations involving President Donald Trump, moves the administration has framed as accountability. Let's see, where does he get into? Oh, that's it? No, I thought he was going to talk about what he found, the burn bags. He had said aloud, wait a minute, what's this? Who's a war criminal? Who's a war criminal, Streaky? Who are you saying? Trump is a war criminal? No, you know who the fucking war criminals were? That was the regime in Iran that told their citizens to stand in front of the structures that Trump said he was going to blow up. And the fact of the matter is that when you blow up bridges and you blow up electric buildings, like power buildings and stuff like that, we've done that all the time. Britain did that. The United States did that. All of us did that in World War II. Because an enemy combatant that uses those things to be an enemy combatant, then it's legal. There's no war crimes or anything like that. He's Welsh. You're Welsh? I didn't know that. That's my last name. That's the W in RPW. Patel Bani, all subservient to Israel. Oh, dude, you got to give that a fucking rest. Please, just stop. Let me see. Billy Blogs. Allison, he hates everyone. Blinded or blink. Yeah, I think he's drunk. No, Rich, the regime didn't tell them. They done it themselves. Tell them what? You're not making sense. Dresden. I don't know about that. I know Dresden was horrible and they dropped all those fucking bombs, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. All right, let's go. What is the next one? Let's go up. Oops. There we go. All right. Blackburn, House Democrat, $25. Yeah, all right. Let's do that one because this one is a moron. Slay News. House Democrats push $25 federal minimum wage. Radical House Democrats are advancing a sweeping proposal to raise the federal minimum wage to $25 per hour, a move critics say could place a heavy strain. You know what they did? In Boston, they were listening to Bernie Sanders, and they said that we need to have $17 an hour. Remember that? The $17 an hour? Was it $7? I think it was $17 an hour. They wanted the minimum wage to be, and they were doing that in hamburger places like McDonald's, stuff like that. And so McDonald's came out with Robo Burger. so Robo Burger is those screens that are now, they're everywhere, and you order your meal that way, and then you go over and pick it up. Minimal humans needed. Yeah, Patton wanted to go after the Soviets, and they told him no. You're right. He was a top man. Yeah. And I think they kill him. He died in a car accident, but they think it was that it was intentional because he was making waves. Yeah. So let's see. The legislation titled Living Wage for All Act. Let me say this too. Okay. I think differently from some people. So I think businesses do pay a livable wage. When you get into the local and then the state and then the federal taxes, right? You take all those taxes out, it's no longer a livable wage. But most places, they pay above minimum wage, like $10 an hour. If you didn't have 30, 40, 50% of your money taken away from you by government. So why don't these Jacobins, why don't they ever go after the real cause of not having a minimum wage? Your taxes. I mean, screw that. I'm sick of these people saying living wage for all act. So what happens is, when they raise the minimum, I had to do it as a manager of a store once. When the Democrats raised the minimum wage under Clinton, and I had to lay someone off, and I hated it because the crew I had was the best I've ever had, and I had to lay someone off because we couldn't afford it. They think that businesses have like a warehouse full of boxes of cash. That's what these idiots on the left who never worked a job a day in their life or owned a business had to make a payroll. That's what they do. And so what they do is they make these class warfare arguments. We care about the little guy. Bullshit. I said it earlier. Every time a Democrat proposes to raise the minimum wage, they do it for two reasons. Number one, they want the little guy to think, oh, he cares about me. That's what they want to do. But the other thing is they're paying back the unions. because the unions, they get dues money, and that dues money is supposed to go towards contract arbitration, like to pay for the lawyers to arbitrate their contract with management. But they don't. They go, screw that. What we'll do is we'll just get the Democrats to create laws in our favor and against regular workers. That's what they do. Now, I got nothing against union workers. They're hard workers. They're good workers. But the fucking leaders of the unions here in the United States, all pieces of shit, every last one of them. Well, the Teamsters guy is coming around, but all the other unions, because what they do is they throw shit tons of money at Democrats, what the dues money, right? And we had a law that came up. I forgot the name of it now, but there was a law where the Supreme Court said that if a worker of yours does not want his dues money going towards a Democrat in a donation, you have to give him his money back. Because it was the guy that brought the lawsuit, he got the living shit beat out of him when he said, I don't want money to go towards Bill Clinton. I want my money back. And they beat the shit out of him. So he took it to court and went all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won. They still don't abide by it. But let me see what's going on now. Streaky, are you causing more problems? Yeah, let me see. I was watching some Mayday. Mayday commie infestation workers of the world. Theater sports. Nice. But yeah, let me see. Yeah, so that's what happens. They try to push for that. And somebody always loses a job. The little guy, yeah, the federal minimum wage stands at $7.25 per hour. But here's the other thing that they don't want to tell you guys. Minimum wage is not, let me put it this way. If you are supporting your family on a minimum wage salary, then you have way bigger problems than earning just minimum wage. Okay, minimum wage is usually for unskilled people, young people trying to get into the workforce. Let me see. It says a higher wage equals more FICA and income tax revenue for the Treasury. That's what $25 will get. More taxes going to the government. It's not, yeah, exactly. Those are the people you got to go after for not having a livable wage. The state, local, and Fed taxes. It's not necessarily a win for the worker and especially the taxpayer. Exactly, Allison. You're exactly right. Yeah. That's why I wanted to come in here tonight. Maybe next week we'll get you in. What's called that? Yeah, she rolls hard. But what's called? So they always make it look like it's going to be for the little guy, but it never is. So when the little guy who's making $7.25, right? He'll get like $1.05, whatever the math is. Math is hard. And the guy that has the already overinflated salary on a unit, not all units, but a lot of them, well, he'll get like $5 or more an hour. And that's what it is. It's a payback to the unions for helping the Democrat get elected. So it's all bullshit. So we don't even need her anymore. That's my message. Yeah. It's all BS. Let me see what's next. Who's here? Yeah, commie unions. Yep. U.S. fat fingers and motion loafer. Yeah, exactly. I was watching Billy Mate, Ricky. Yep. You do the score. What was this? The score. What? They must replace the Shankies and the. Okay. Yeah. You're right. I see. Yep. He knew the score. Oh Jesus. Oh man. All right. Candidate 2% growth. No, I don't care about that. No, I don't care about that. I don't really care about that. Strikes down Louisiana. Yes. Let's go up to see some videos. Obsession over skin color. Incompetent people in positions. Yeah, what do you guys make of this? Are you guys fans of Alex Jones? Okay. The headline is Alex Jones signs out from InfoWars. Like he's not there anymore. What? Let me play this. How long is it, though? Let me see. Let me get the commercial out of the way, too. Hold on. It's Rumble. It's like 6 minutes. We don't have to play the whole thing, but it's got all his people behind him. It's like he's saying goodbye. I'm like, what the hell? What's he doing? So here we go. So
I never bluff, folks. If you knew what we had, the whistleblowers, the documents, we have royal flushes. They are screwed to the moon. And all glory goes to Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father that leads, guides, and directs us. We are commit ourselves to God in this holy fight. And we are committed. And if God stands with us, who can stand against us? educated me. I mean, you think I know so much? I don't know much. These show trials I went through showed me so much. Like, I knew there were show trials, but not like a Truman Show. Like I said, the second trial in Connecticut, I look over, it's the same script on the judge's desk. When I'm up to testifying, I had like punched the stomach, like I said earlier. I was like, oh my God, it's the same script. It's literally a script. When you realize they're so corrupt, they have coordinated scripts run by the CIA in court hearings. And you're just like, oh my God, I thought I knew how bad it was, and I was naive. And when that hits you, it's like a horse kicking you. It is like being kicked in the balls by Godzilla. And then you just say, oh my God, I've studied this for decades. I don't know how bad it is. How do I get the public to wake up? And that's why I don't blame the public that can't wake up, because this is so big. Well, guess what? You got to challenge it. You got to face it. So I want to thank, and I mean this, folks, when I thank you, as I hand this over to Mr. Rants, I want you to understand, like, I mean it from the very bottom of my soul, the center of my heart. I'm a fighter. I hate tyrants. I hate bullies. I've always hated them. And you keep me in the fight. It's the most beautiful thing ever. And I just want to thank you for since 1997 with InfoWars and 1994 since being on air, and 17 years in this building. And we're going to do the Alex Jones Network tomorrow, alexjonesapp.com for free. So you can find it all there. And alexjoneslive.com is the new news site. It's all there in the same stations, satellites. I just want you to know that this isn't me putting a good face on this. This is the reality. Our enemies are falling apart. We have to have faith in God. What's going on? Like 10 people just ran into my studio. There's a big giant party going on here? Oh, they want to have a toast. All right. I know this is going to happen. Before we turn this over to Mr. Rants, my point is that this has been beyond epic, and this has been 100% organic and real. You know, whenever they sued us, they would always ask everybody, who gives the orders? Who's the foundation people? Because they were all getting the orders. Guess what? My orders come from God, from my genetics, from who I am for humanity. And that's what they can't stand, is your orders come from God. And remember, the devil's biggest trick is not that he doesn't exist. It's the second best trick. It's that good doesn't exist. You know, watching and listening, that you are overall good. You want good. You're not perfect, but you want good and you love God. So I tell you now, your destiny is in your hands. And so they think they're going to have their big victory. They think it's all funny. They think it's all cool. No, this is the beginning of the end. We don't ride on Trump. He rode it on our train. He was useful as far as he went.
Who, Anna from Young Turks?
If we get in alignment with God. So go to Christ, pray to Christ, ask for God to atone you and to rebuild you and to lead God and direct you, and we will win. So I'm going to hand the baton for the next 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
To our guest here, Tom Renz, and then Jay Dyer's going to take over. And then we're going to air hours of all the Sandy Hook documentation that was run by the CIA and the feds. And then we're not here anymore because they're turning the power off at midnight. Yeah. Private detectives are coming in to close the doors.
Yeah, because you know what it is? Remember those lawsuits that he had against them? And it was it was for the Newton school shooting, Newtown, whatever it is. And he said it was faked, right? And so some I'll be nice. Some lawyers got class action. So they said, we're going to make tons of money. Join in. So they all did. And I'll never forget seeing Alex Jones sitting there. Yeah, Anna Kasparian. Is that who it is? I know. We might fall out. That's funny. I know. Now he just wants to bang her. That's probably it. But what's actually though, Linda, Anna Kasparian, she's always going to be a lib nut. She's always wild. She's on the left. She's Chunk Yogurt's. I call him Chunk Yogurt. Chunk Yogurt's girl, but she has been coming around a little bit as of late, like agreeing with MAGA stuff because it's populist nationalist, and so she has been agreeing, but I still think she's always going to be a lib nut. So, but anyway, so I remember seeing Alex sitting there, while he's playing on the screen as the jury's reading out the verdict and they're reading out the money, and just it was over $1 billion he had to pay, and the whole time he's saying, I never mentioned one of these people's names. He goes, and they're able to sue me for this kind of money. He goes, what the hell? Throw another 100 million in like that. He was just like sitting there like, this is unbelievable. He goes, never mentioned anyone's name, and he didn't. And all these people with their kids that were killed, they sued, right? But he never said anyone's name. How they have no standing, yet they got in, right? There was what's this? No standing, right? They say it to conservatives all the fucking time, right? Yeah, but it didn't matter. So they're coming to shut him down. They're taking over the building. No, forget, don't.
And they're going to act like they've got their big ass victory. Yeah. But notice the state court just blocked the little rat confessed Satanist from coming in to wear our skin for months while we launched our operation. We're going to sue them for civil rights. We got whistleblowers. We've only begun to fight, but it's only because you buy the products at thealexjonestore.com.
I bought their products.
That we're able to do this. They keep asking, why are they doing this? Why do they keep fighting? Who's the deep state? Who's the deep money? It's you. You are the deep money. You are the reason. And here's the great part. Our new owners, our new people, I have full control as news director. Everything I want, host, everything. They're ready. And I will sit there and live in a modest house with a modest car, which I love. And they think, oh, we'll take your money, Joe. Shut up. I'm ready to die for this. You think taking money from me does something? It makes me want to strangle you spiritually. It's a joke. It empowers me. And so now you've got all the people and the network that's launching that we're going to hire all these hosts, all this stuff, who are ready with all the people who know to sue your ass back. We don't just take lawsuits. We sue you, and we win, and we have your whistleblowers. We have you. You've walked into our trap because we don't start fights, but we finish them. And that, I'm telling you, it's all glory to God. I never bluff, folks. If you knew what we had, the whistleblowers, the documents, we have royal flushes. They are screwed to the moon. And all glory goes to Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father, the leads, guides, and direct us. We are commit ourselves to God in this holy fight, and we are committed. And if God stands with us, who can stand against us? And that's how I close out. So I salute you all.
How about that?
What a crew. The hell we've been through has only made us stronger.
Infowars.
Let me ask you, would you have any other way? No. Are you not stronger now in this fight? Yeah! I salute this crew and all the viewers and listeners to this fight, and I commit myself to Jesus Christ's hands.
Amen. God bless the InfoWar. Woo!
You are the InfoWar. It lives forever. We're going to play Frank Sinatra Blue Eyes and come back with the great Tom Renz and then Jay Dyer to close this out. God bless you all. That's it. The next phase starts. The real war begins now.
Wow. How about that? Holy crap. Let's see. I don't know. Well, I just explained it. It's not a buyout, actually. It was two different things. The courts are coming, the sheriffs are coming to shut down InfoWars because of the lawsuit that they went after him with a lawsuit. The people from the Newtown shooting years ago, right? There was a kid that stole his mother's gun. Or his grandmother's gun, I forget, stole his mother's gun and went to school and shot up a whole bunch of kids. And there were all these stories that went out there. Oh, hey, Gina, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, friend that listens 24/7. She's going to be a mess. Oh, I know. Well, no, not going to be a mess, Gina, because he's starting something new. It's under a completely different name, and they can't go after it. They wanted to take down InfoWars. And it was for something like he said that it was fake, and there was legitimate looking videos. Like they had people, get this, guys. They had people that the pictures that were taken during the shootings and all that. And there were certain people that were there you could clearly visibly see, and you're like, so what? Then they show, oh, well, this was a different shooting across the country, and the same people are there, dressed differently, but it's the same people, and they were. So he started looking into it and he goes, oh, what's up with that? Right. And so he started saying, like, there was enough evidence that made it look like, I mean, I even thought that it was fake, that it was, see, the government does, like the CIA does fake things when they want to take something, they either want to take something off the headlines, or B, they want to put some new regulation or something in, they don't want us looking at it. So they'll have stuff like that. And it's known that they do. They do it mostly locally, so it doesn't make national news, but this made national news. And so Alex Jones said, I'm convinced, and he showed all the photos. He didn't show a single kid. He didn't mention a single kid's name or their parents. No, he never mentioned anyone's names because he didn't want to do that. Right? He thought people have privacy, and he didn't say, well, the little bastard should have died. Their parents voted Democrat. Like, he didn't do anything like that. He was just talking about it as if it was a CIA play. And it turns out, yeah, Commander, dude, sorry, man, I had to mute you, brother, because there was somebody in the background that was making noise, and then I went to read, and that's why it took so long for me to come back, and you had gone. Sorry, man. You can come back in if you want. It's the same code. If you need it again, let me know. I'll put it out. See, Alex got fined. $1 billion he did. Yeah, and so they're coming after. Like, there were judges that jumped in and said, no, you can't take his business. And they're like, yeah, we can. And so I think the fact of the matter is he's going to lose it. He's going to lose InfoWars. And InfoWars, see, the thing is about him, he was always like 95% right. And that other 5%, he was talking about UFOs, like crazy shit. But now we're finding out UFOs were real. So he might have been right about that too. But here's how he was always right. He made a ton of money before they shut down his ability to make money, right? He made a ton of money, but he spent a lot of it on informants, people in hotels, restaurants, bars, right? Any kind of building, medical buildings, legal buildings. And he had them on the payroll that if someone important came in, get the scoop and send it to us. And then we'll investigate. And he would pay them for it. And he paid good money. And that's how he was always in the know. Yeah, but the Trump masters wouldn't pay that fine. That's like that $450 million fine that he got. It was thrown out because it violated the 8th Amendment. The 8th Amendment says you can't make an extraordinary penalty that is just outrageous. You can't do it. And $450 million, that was just outrageous. Yeah, and that was another lawfare case thrown against Trump. Yep. What's that? I reckon they have disaster response teams in the UK. Don't look back in anger. Oh, I don't know what that is. Let's get rid of that. Let's put up another. Let's see if another video. COVID shots. Oh, yeah, here's one. This is crazy. So now I don't even know if I can talk about this. Well, yeah, I can. Everybody's talking about the COVID stuff now. You get a yeet for this, but Ron Johnson, good man. All right, Senator. COVID shots 55 times deadlier than the flu jab, and they knew it. Let's watch. What is that? The shooter? Yeah. Hold on. Where is it? Vaccine flu. Here you go.
The data depicted on these charts
Watch this.
alone should have raised the alert level to DEFCON 1. Now, this first chart is showing deaths reported on VAERS since the inception of VAERS. You can see starting in 1990, deaths were approximately a couple hundred per year. Anaphylactic shock, those types of things. In 2021, deaths spiked to 21,631.
Imagine.
Now, again, I didn't need a mathematical algorithm to tell me there's something going on here. And by the way, a lot of people will say, well, that's because we administered billions of doses. One of the letters I wrote to the CDC showed the rate of death per dose, compared it to the flu, which is about 0.46 deaths per million doses. Time we calculated this, the COVID injection was 25.5 deaths per million doses. That's a 55-fold increase over the deaths for the flu vaccine. So something was going on here.
Wow. Okay. it to be done.
It's going to be.
Let's see what else we got. I got a couple more. Yeah, I was talking about Gavin McInnes earlier. Let's do it. How long is it? Hold on. How long is it? That's a rather personal question. Monty Python. Oh yeah, this is about why elites in the UK are either ignoring or blind to the Islamist invasion. Yeah, you guys want to hear this. This is Glenn Beck and Gavin McInnes. Let's see. He was one of the leaders of the Proud Boys at one point.
I was on Piers Morgan's show yesterday, and
What's the volume?
You know, Piers and I don't agree on an awful lot. But I was on with him yesterday, and he said, you know, I saw your tweet that you were standing shoulder to shoulder with Tommy Robinson. You're going over to his rally. And I said, yeah. And I said, I will tell you, Piers, I don't know who's speaking at the rally, and I can't judge. I can barely judge my own country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't judge all these people coming from all over Europe. And I'm concerned because in America, we understand individual liberty.
Yeah.
So if you believe in the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, that's all about individual liberty. Nobody else has that. Nobody else has that. And so it can go fascistic or communist easy. They're railroad tracks. One, the left is communist and the right is fascist. And they hope to play somewhere in between. In America,
Fascism's left wing, though.
Communism is on the left.
Yep.
Anarchy is on the right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you want to play between those railroad tracks. They don't get that. And he said, well, I got to warn you. I don't think you know who Tommy Robinson is. And I said, I've spent some
You
time
guys are
with
gonna
him.
love her.
You know, I'm not a detective. I haven't gone through his garbage, but he seems like a guy who admits that he has had, he was a brawler when he was young, a street fighter, but seems pretty logical now and is following the breadcrumbs and warning about things that are real. And he said, yeah, he just keeps making about Islamists. And I'm like, well, yeah, it seems like you have a problem with, Islamists, not just people coming in from the country, but people who are coming into the country who like Sharia law and are raping your children. That seems like a real deal. And he just doesn't see it at all.
Tommy's from Luton. Luton is 60% Muslim. Tommy's cousin was raped by a Pakistani grooming gang. So he's in the eye of the storm. You got to understand about Britain. They are pre-Thatcher now. They've reverted. There's no more middle class. There's the elites and the working class. Thatcher came along, privatized everything.
Yeah.
Destroyed the unions. It went through some growing pains, but they finally had a middle class. They finally had entrepreneurs for decades. And now they've gone back. And Piers is an elite. He's never been to Luton. He doesn't understand the working class.
Right.
He probably doesn't go to any football matches with these people. He's got his own little box. And they don't understand that the Muslim problem is within the working class. They're not in, Cheddington. They're not in the West London.
Yeah.
They're not in South England. They're all concentrated in Birmingham, in Rotherham, in Luton, and those towns are gone. Like Ozzy Osbourne goes back to Birmingham, and he said this on Steve Jones' podcast. He goes, I didn't understand where I was. I was walking around.
Sharon, I won't do it, Sharon.
Birmingham's gone. And Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols was just like, yeah, anyway, what teams do you support? Because that's the third rail, right?
Right.
So Tommy has these rallies where 3 million people show up. And they're all working class because they live with this problem, the problem of Islam. Sikhism is not a problem in Britain.
Right.
Hinduism is not a problem. These groups assimilate. The Quran clearly states don't assimilate, convert or die. So it's a controversial view I have, but I like Tommy and I think that Islam is incompatible with the Western world. It gets more than 10%.
Yeah.
You get problems.
Yeah.
We're at 1 or 2. We're doing okay for now, although Texas is not looking good and we lost Michigan. But in Britain, they've successfully taken over many areas and they're calling for Sharia law.
Yeah.
And that's what Tommy's about. Like, I did a podcast with The Economist yesterday in Britain, and she's like, don't you think that the problem with Tommy and what he's doing is that he's stereotyping people, and there could be innocent, Muslims who are falling into this category. And I'm like, what's inconvenient? Being sodomized by an old man when you're 11 years old.
Yeah.
Like, there are thousands and thousands of child rapes where I'm not even sure I can say it on the show what they do, like nailing a girl's tongue into a piece of wood while she's being raped.
Gosh, no.
Raping her under the Pakistani flag, branding girls with an M for Muhammad.
Yeah.
And the elite's takeaway at The Economist is, but what if we offend people?
Can you imagine
Someone
that?
being raped is much more offensive
than
someone being inconvenienced. And if you're being inconvenienced, by the way, as a moderate Muslim, you should be mad at the jihadis for
Yes.
creating this pattern
Yes.
you're
Yes.
falling into.
Yes.
It's not my problem.
Yes.
Exactly. It's amazing that they won't see it. The leadership, they just won't see it. All right, guys, I want a nice, clean fight. No rabbit punches, no hitting below the belt. Take to your corners when your opponent goes down. Ding, ding. That's what I asked him earlier. He's drunk. He's about to get booted, but he's drunk. But I like him anyway. But still, he runs the mouth a lot. I don't like the anti-Jew stuff, though. I never did. You guys know that. Let's see. Do we have another one I can do right now? Let me see. Yeah, PA Supreme Court. Let's see what else we got. I got some stuff up top. Let me bring it up. So hard, your friends on these streets. What's that? I pity you. Try too hard. Try so hard to find friends. Everybody likes Billy. Let me see. So, COVID vaccine hearing exposes deliberate blind eye to overwhelming evidence of harm. Is the American public getting wise on Democrat lies? Let's do that one. Is the American public getting wise to Democrat lies? Polling suggests they're not buying the Dem line on Iran, or one lone voice at a radical outfit is urging its followers to cool their jets as they lose credibility. It's true. Let's see. We're losing in Iran. Yes, we are. And I know that because Democrats and the German chancellor are very clear on that point. My own take is different, of course. I think Iran's leadership is currently the equivalent of a murderous drunk slowly choking to death in a pool of its own vomit. What's interesting is that the American people think the same as I do, although probably not so graphically. I agree. And here's one tiny data point. They're all saying data. That's just a data point. One lone writer at a hugely popular leftist social media outlet has begged Democrats to tone down the insanity when it comes to the most recent assassination attempt against President Trump. Some are realizing that when you get too crazy, you lose your audience. You think? Just the other day, Representative John Garamendi, Surrender Party, California, explained to CNN that we're trapped in a quagmire in Iran. A quagmire? Holy crap. They have no Navy, no Air Force, no Army. We took out their missiles. They just have the mobile batteries that are firing on ships, but they're stopping that as well. Every now and then they have some that go through, but the government that's left is saying, no, it's rogue guys that were in the regime. They're still doing it. We're not doing it, but that could be a lie too, because they lie. Their religion tells them they could lie. Am I going to play this? Thank you, Mr. President. Trump, Hegseth, misleading. Yeah, Trump and Hegseth have been misleading the American people about the war. You're nuts. The guy's nuts. Garamendi may not be the voice of all the people, but those words certainly represent the Democratic Party's attitude toward the war, because it's an election year and they want to win. So they got to make it look like, I can't tell you what I'm going to do for you, but don't vote for that guy. He's a mess. That's what they always do. Overseas, the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said much the same. Quote, the problem with conflicts like this is always you don't just have to get in. You have to get out again. We saw that very painfully in Afghanistan for 20 years. Yeah, and it was Trump that got us out, but then the Democrats stole an election before we could actually pull it off. We saw it in Iraq. Merz, and yeah, the Iraq and Afghanistan war, never understood it. Well, Afghanistan, yeah, because the guys were from Afghanistan. A lot of them were from Afghanistan. A lot of them were from Saudi too. But Iraq, why were they involved? I think it was because we said, you know what, we got to take down some dictator in the Middle East. Might as well be Iraq. But I didn't see why we ever went into Iraq. I never agree with that. Mers said Iranian officials were obviously negotiating very skillfully and appeared clearly stronger than one thought, adding that an entire nation is being humiliated by the Iranian leadership, particularly by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Wrong. This war is not Afghanistan or Iraq, not even close. Last year, the U.S. and Israel destroyed Iran's air defenses and nuclear enrichment sites. And let me tell you something, guys, for all the guys that hate the Jews. Israel actually took out a lot of those surface-to-air missile sites so that we could fly our boys and girls in there to take out their missiles and kill with the bunker busters and all that shit that we did. Okay, they did a lot of the pre-work for us. We're not Donald Trump is not fighting a war for Israel. You guys, man, if you think Donald Trump's going to let anybody talk to him and say that he's their bitch, then you don't know Donald Trump. Okay, and so Israel is like, I'm sorry, but they're the shit in warfare. Look what they did, man. They helped take out Iran, all right, which is a danger. And we found out through intel that they were look. The law said they were not allowed to, what was it, 3.2% enrichment? They were up to 60%, which means a few more weeks and they would have had a bomb, and then the world fucking changes forever. I mean, the world would have changed. And these idiots on the left are saying, we didn't have a reason to go into the war. Yeah, would you rather be fucking nuked? And now they're up to the point, I saw someone on Facebook saying, oh, now they're going to say, would you rather be nuked? Yeah, would you rather have been nuked? Because these pricks, since it was like 47 years, since 1979, do the math. These people have been saying death to America, death to Israel, right? And they literally said they wanted the bomb to use it on us. They've said it. And I tend to believe them when they keep saying it for all those years, right? And think about this. They don't even need a missile. They can make a suitcase bomb once they have the enrichment done. They can make a suitcase bomb. Give it to Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, I mean, anybody. Walk over to a border in Egypt, boom. You should have let the Gazans in, right? I mean, think about it, guys. Come on. They were at 60%. This year, they destroyed Iran's Air Force, Navy, military bases, military supply warehouses, missile launches, and, of course, the entire leadership class down to the third level of both Iran's political and military rulers. An unknown number of IRGC and Basij, whatever, troops have also died. What we've seen in Iran is World War II's total victory compressed in less than 6 weeks. It was also done without any boots on the ground and with only 13 American service members killed. Each of those deaths was a tragic loss, but it's worth noting that it took over 400,000 American troop deaths to achieve the same ends in World War II. I mean, Pete Hegseth is kicking ass, along with the deaths of almost 400,000 Brits when the British still had a fighting spirit. The British still do have a fighting spirit. It's your government that doesn't. Because the Brits are good people, man. It's your freaking government. Almost 40,000 Australians, over 11,000 New Zealanders, around 44,000 Canadians. Wow, that's a lot. Additionally, it is a quagmire when American ships have ensured that oil, which is Iran's lifeblood, cannot leave its ports and go to market. Iran, which already had a weak economy, in part because of unaddressed drought issues, and in part because the government was funneling the economy into fomenting world terrorism and destroying Israel, is losing between 150 million and 500 million in oil revenue per day. That's per day, depending on who's doing the estimating. Even if it's 150 million per day, come on. That's real punishment. Currently, the exchange rate is such that the real is worth 76 of a dollar. Wow. Okay. That's 30 times weaker than the completely fake pre-war government subsidized exchange rate of 42,000 reals per dollar, and 3 times weaker than pre-war black market rate of 500 to 700,000 reals per dollar that reflected Iran's economic reality. And remember, Barack Obama flew $1 billion into them on pallets in the middle of the night like Pablo Escobar. And then Joe Biden did the same damn thing. None of that looks like Iranian victory to me, nor does it show America in a stalemate-style quagmire. It's unreal with these people on the left. They'll do anything to win. That's what it is, including destroy America, the reputation of America. I mean, they kicked ass over there. A new national. I'm not even going to read that. Let me see. Get down to this. Oh, wait a minute. We got something here. The other 98%. No. All right. Facts, not the leftist drumbeat, are winning in America. There's one more sign, a very small one, that some Democrats, at least, are realizing that their party needs to get a grip on reality. The other 98% is a hugely popular leftist Facebook group with 8 million followers. In the wake of all that is that it's a hoax theories that Democrats came up with following the most recent assassination attempt against the entire Republican leadership, one writer at the other 98% issued a scolding. Let me see. Stop stage, whatever. The problem for Democrats is that if you peruse all the other posts at the other 98%, you realize that the writer is a voice in the wilderness. The rest of the site is entirely given over to the same theories the shooter voiced in his manifesto, that Trump is Hitler, a racist, a despoiler of women and children, a sadist, a tyrant, etc. Even the writer of the above post, after calling for sanity, went back to the same tropes at the end. The left is so mired in this alternative reality that it cannot get out of it. Some have an inkling of the problem, but they're stuck in quicksand. They know they're sinking, but they can't get out. We're losing in Iran. Trump is evil. Look at this, everybody walking away. Perhaps, though, because the crazy is too obvious, Americans are waking up from their decades in the leftist loony bin and returning to a normal fact-based view of the world around them. That's crazy time. Let me see. What do we got here? Blondie B. Hey, what's up, Special K? Good to see you. Let's see. Middle East countries were reforming. Late 60s. Yeah. Oh, Z-Big. All right. Let me see. They can reach your, the satellite programs. They only get knowledge longer. Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, they lied. The Ayatollah lied. Oh, no, really? Yeah, the Ayatollah lied, making a fatwa that they would never allow their missiles to go so far. And then it was like triple the distance when we found out in reality when they fired at the island a couple weeks back before they all died. Let me see something. Okay, here we go. Let me see. We got a video. Let's see. Oh, that's a very long video. Incinerate. Oh, wow. Space. Another scientist was murdered. Yeah, and they're saying China's saying that their scientists are being killed left and right too. Yeah, something's going on. They're killing all of our scientists, mostly in military, tech, and space. Someone's going around just killing them all, and there's a reason for that. And I'm surprised that we aren't more on that. I mean, Trump talked about it, so I think when the president says something about something like that, then the federal government moves into action. So we just haven't heard what they're doing yet. What are you worrying about, Billy? Fatwas are conditional. Yeah, true. They're basically bullshit. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Muhammad, the way he acted. All right. Fact checkers, you can look this up. Muhammad, if he wanted to do something, it's against the Quran, he'd say, oh, okay. He'd come back the next day and go, last night I had a vision from Allah again, and he told me it's okay. No. Which is why he married a 6-year-old and raped her when she was 9. Yeah, the Mahdi is what Shia sects believe in, right? Not the Sunni, right? There's more Shia than Sunni, but they associate the Mahdi, that's the 12ers, right? Associate the Mahdi with the end of times, and these Shiite muzzies want to hasten the coming of the Mahdi. Sunni, Shia don't get along, right? They hate each other. Except when a Western country is attacking, they forget all that. Because Allah says you got to kill Whitey. That's what it comes down to. Let's see what else we got. I got a lot of people sending me stuff. I should put this out again. We got a little bit of time. Let's see. I watched a good vid, The Rise of Zionism and the Balfour Agreement, history that people should know more about. Okay. It's Iran Shiite. All of the Muslim countries, the SA, or holy cities are the Sunni, right? Muhammad was an illiterate warlord. Yeah. Do you know, Loafer, do you know that the first thing he did, the first act he did as the prophet was he had his whole town murdered. Because he went to his town, his hometown, and he told everybody, hey, you know me, but I'm the prophet now of Allah. And they're like, get out of here. They ran him out of town. So he went to this mountain that was nearby, and he found all these savages, warriors, whatever. And he said, hey, you guys steal shit, right? I know a town where you can get a ton of stuff. Just slaughter everybody in there and take what you want. And they went, oh, okay. So he had them all go down as an army, and they slaughtered everybody in the town because they laughed at him. And Brigitte Gabriel, she revealed through her research that to this day, it started that the Muslims hate the Jews because apparently Muhammad went to Jewish people and said, hey, you guys have a book. We have a book. You believe in one God. We believe in one God. Let's merge. And the Jews said, that's okay. It's been 1,000 years without you. No, thanks. And from that day on, he friggin' hated them because they laughed at him and said, get out of here. What are you, nuts? You make something up and out of the whole cloth, and you expect us to like get in on it. And so they hated him ever since. But then the cottage industry to hate the Jews came along. I mean, you guys, I talk to you all the time about this. And I know it pisses a lot of you off, and I'm glad you keep coming back, but I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. You can believe it. You can say it because here's free speech. So, what's that? It's like all the stupid theater sports and just wrong. Wrongins. They're wrongins, yeah. So let's see. Do we have something else? Dems revive court packing threats. Yeah, the Dems are, we're going to pack the court. Right. No one's going to sign off on that. They don't hate gerrymandering. They hate the GOP fighting back. Exactly. Jersey tax grab that's gone way too far. Trump naval-based blockade causing Iran economy to collapse. IRS weaponized the Johnson Amendment. What else we got? Trump picks. Let me see if we can find some good videos. True, they hate the Christians too. It's more complicated. Yes. It's the next country over. Yeah. That is true. Let's see. Space scientists. Man, I wish I could play that, but it's like 52 minutes long, so I can't. So let's see. What do I got? I'll play one. It's Know It All. Cam Higbee. Oh, this is good. Hold on. If you guys don't know who this guy Cam Higbee is, you should check him out. He's really good. Instant regret. Riley Gaines panics after Tim Pool exposes her brutal twist. What was that all about? They had to take her down. I'm trying to find a good one. Cam Higbee. So let's go. Let's go. I'll get one. Anti-Trump worldview. Couldn't believe the response. Anti-Islam. Let me see. Attacked at Anti-Islam Dearborn live on the ground. Oh, wow. Trans defender. I'm going to try to find one for you guys so that you guys can take sides. It starts panicking when I read the Quran. Yeah, this is an hour, but we'll play some of it. Here we go. Let's play some of this, guys. Oh, you guys are going to be in so much. You're going to have so much fun with this one. And I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's an hour long, but we'll just play a few minutes of it. This is Cam Higbee. He's pretty good. And look, when like he has, I believe it's umingle.com. Yeah. And he has people just come on because they're waiting to talk to him. Right. And he's very conservative, pro-Trump. He knows his shit. Okay. But whenever he does the Muslims, he puts that on. And they go, why are you wearing that? And he goes, I just wanted to make you feel comfortable, right? But watch this.
Do you like Israel?
No.
Why not?
They're killing my people. What do you think? Not even my people, like everyone in the Middle East. I mean, they're killing Iranians,
I don't think so. Are they?
Palestinians.
Well, they're killing Lebanese because the Lebanese government can't control their population and prevent Hezbollah, an Iranian-sponsored terror proxy, from shooting missiles into Israel. But yeah,
for what? Tell me what.
If you want to go with that, sure. They're bombing southern Beirut because that's where Hezbollah is hanging out, and they're embedding themselves among civilian infrastructure. There's been some collateral death.
So what are they? Like pro-Israel, pro-Palestine? I don't understand.
I'm pro-Israel. I don't think Palestine exists. I don't think it's ever exists.
He hung up.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Yeah,
he actually gets some that agree with him.
As your interest. What's up?
Oh, the articles?
My friend, because we're Palestinian.
Billy, right here.
Oh, nice. Just looking for other Palestinians or what?
No. Yeah, kind of.
I own this website, and this is what I read from.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Every week I
Just
set it
have
up.
People of common
All right.
interest. Common interest.
What do you guys think about Israel?
It's an apartheid state. They could do better.
What is apartheid? I don't know what that word means.
Apartheid is when there's not
He knows
civilians
what it
and
means.
equal rights, where certain civilians could not walk on certain streets.
It's not true. In Israel,
Where does that happen?
that's not true in Israel.
It happens in the West Bank, and it happens a lot in the 48.
Where
we like to call it the 1948.
where are the streets in the West Bank that certain people can't walk down? The only streets I'm aware of are the ones that have the big red signs that say no Israelis allowed past this point.
Right.
They still go down this point, by the way.
Exactly.
They go down that point. They still go down those points. There's actually a lot of.
They say don't.
They
go
actually
that
actually go and they put tents on those. If you can search it up, there's a lot of instances. For example,
what you're talking about.
For example, yesterday, March 25, 2026.
I don't remember that.
This is yesterday. They went into the village of Mukhmas, which is
Listen to this guy. He rips them
it's an area A,
with
it's
facts.
like a Palestinian land, and this is not included in Israel, basically. Like this is under, the Palestinian government and everything. Like they never had any problems with Israel. Like they don't have any freedom fighters. They don't have none of that.
They are a lot
shepherds.
more moderate
Anyway,
over there than they are in
yesterday, as
Gaza.
in March 25th, a lot of settlers, they set up camps in a plot of land that's under a Palestinian man's name. Set up camps. They wouldn't leave.
Oh,
And
really?
they took
There's
the
no
coast.
settlements in Area A, to be clear. There's no settlements at all in Area A.
And he knows because he's been over there and he's
There
talking.
actually isn't. Every single settlement.
If you do one quick Google search,
Yeah,
it's all
I
gonna pop
have.
up.
Trust me. I've looked at the entire map. Every single
right now.
settlement is in
Do it-
Area
do
C.
it right now.
Yeah. I've looked at the map 100 times. There's no settlements in Area A.
Brother,
Give me a
right-
source
right
that says
now.
there's settlements in Area A. A source that says there's settlements in Area A.
Al
There's none.
Jazeera,
And what? And,
Ramallah,
yeah, I don't.
They
yeah,
come
Al
up with all
Jazeera's
this
By the way.
bullshit.
Also,
Okay, Ramallah
what you were
mix.
And he
talking
sets
about.
them straight.
Yeah. So what news
Well,
channels do you follow?
1 second. Yeah, 1 second. Can I answer your question?
Jewish
When you were
voice
talking,
or peace?
when you were talking about people not being able to walk down certain streets, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about Shabbat Street in Hebron, and Palestinians control 80% of Hebron per an agreement that they agreed to, the H1H2 agreement.
I didn't even
Okay.
mention Hebron yet, even though you could talk about
No, you
Jerusalem.
did. The only street, when everyone talks about the street that people aren't allowed to walk down, they're talking about Shabbat Street in Hebron. That's the only street that's like a division between territories.
How are you going to say this when I was in Palestine this summer, right?
I
And
was
went
in
to the
Gaza this
occupied-
summer. I don't
and
know what
went
you
to
want
the
from me.
occupied- And I went to the occupied territories, and I went to Israel.
So
There's
did
no
he.
such thing as occupied territories. I was in the West Bank in August. I was in Gaza in August.
Yeah, there's no occupied territories.
It's,
That's
What is the
bullshit.
definition of occupation?
I went to Jerusalem. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Oh,
When people come and they sit on the land that's not theirs, I call that occupation. You're occupying somebody else's land. That's
Oh
occupation.
yeah, when was it Palestinian territory? When was there a Palestinian country there?
And still, to this day, there's still Palestinian land. To this day,
Sure, there's Palestinians living there. When was there a Palestinian country
No, there's
there?
still
Who-
Palestinian land to this day. There's still Palestinian land, but they are currently trying to get us out of it.
When, before 1993, was there ever a Palestinian country in that area?
Before 1993, yes.
Before the Oslo Accords? Yeah, when? Who was the first president?
We've been around for thousands of years. There was never a specific president. We were under the Ottomans. We were under the.
Oh, you
we were
guys
under
never had a
bunch of
leader?
different
You,
mandates.
you guys had a country and no leader?
Not really.
There was
Never
never a
designated
country.
leader.
There was
Right,
never
there's
a
no
Palestinian
country.
country.
That's why there was no leader.
There was never a Palestinian country. It was always an undefined
How are you
geographical
gonna say that when
location
it says
within
literally
other
Palestine?
states.
When Palestine's mentioned in the Old Testament multiple times, how are you going to say that it's not? How are you
You're
gonna say
talking about the Philistines, who were Greeks from the island Crete.
Oh,
They were
so
Aegean
are you
people,
not
not
the
Arabs.
other Greek?
The
So
Philistines?
what
Yeah, they
what
were
are we?
Greeks.
What are the current Palestinians today? What are we?
you're Arabs who arrived there in the 7th century after the Arab expansion.
Thank you.
we didn't.
Yes.
No, we're not.
Yes.
I took
That's
most of
exactly
the
right.
Canaanites. I'm a part
You're
of-
exactly
I'm a
right,
part of the
Anglo.
Canaanites. I'm gonna
There's
put
no
my
such
name on
country.
myself. Are you gonna tell me I'm
Yeah,
not a Semite?
yeah. So
I am a
so
native-
what
I
happens?
am native
What
to the
happens?
land, but there is breeding when the Arabs
You're
came
exactly
over,
right.
you know, people get married, people have
Allison.
kids.
Yeah, exactly. So when the Arabs when
DNA.
Arabs do the Arab expansion and they go and kill everybody who won't convert to Islam, they also rape people,
That
which
actually
results
didn't
in
happen.
some
It
of
never
your
happened. If you're gonna
ancestors
go back to
having
the Crusades,
Canaanite
if you're gonna
DNA.
go back to the Crusades, actually, if you're gonna go back to the Crusades, actually, the Christians and Catholics, when they took over Jerusalem, they're the ones that killed every single Muslim.
Wait. They didn't
When
take
Salah
over
ad-Din al-Ayyubi
Jerusalem.
came in the
It was
10th century,
stolen
he's
from them by the
first
Muslims, and they
Muslims.
took it back
He's the
during the
first person to bring
Crusades.
back the Jews after
Took it back from
after
the
they were
British?
exiled for 500 years. After they're exiled for 500 years, he brought back the Jews. Search that. It's a known fact. It's history. Go to
It's
any
not.
history.
It's not true.
What I'm telling you is, we're not the ones that killed people. We didn't kill anybody. Nobody was forced.
Yeah,
to
oh,
try-
the Arabs
nobody was
in the
forced to
7th
convert.
century Arab expansion, the Arabs didn't kill anybody.
They didn't kill
Do I get that
anybody.
right?
Yeah.
Not
Wow,
for
that's
them to
interesting.
convert.
And
Not
you
for
also
them to
claim that
convert.
you claim that
Not
you
for them
weren't
to
an Arab,
convert.
but you just said we in the context of Arab. So you're admitting that
No,
you're an
I'm
Arab.
saying
And
genetically, if you're gonna go, if you're going genetically,
absolutely, in the 7th century, the Arabs killed people during the Arab expansion. How could they have taken all of the Middle East and North Africa without killing a single person? What you're saying is
No, but
idiotic.
I'm telling you an example. No, I'm not. It's not idiotic. First of all, I'm telling you, they're not killing people to convert.
Oh, really? Wait, hold up. What's this then? Hold up. What's
Yeah.
this?
Can you
One second.
find
I got
them?
you, bro. I got you. Good. Don't worry. Check it out. You see this?
Mhm.
What is that?
Okay. The Quran.
Okay. Yep, the Quran. Check it
He
out.
uses
Watch
the
this.
book against them every
Yeah.
time because they lie.
Surah 9, verse 5. Then, when the sacred months have passed, slay the idolaters wherever you find them. Take them captive, besiege them, and prepare for each an ambush. But if they repent and establish worship and pay the poor due, leave their way free. Lo, Allah is forgiving and merciful. If they become Muslims, do not kill them.
So wait, what page was that? First of all,
That
in
was
Islam,
Surah 9,
you're not
verse
allowed
5.
to kill a non-Muslim. In Islam, if you kill,
Notice how they're getting agitated.
You're not allowed to kill a
That's not
non-Muslim.
true.
You're not
That's
allowed
not
to kill a
true.
Muslim.
That's not true.
If you
Check
go
this
from-
out.
If you kill
That's
a
not
non-Muslim,
true.
it's like
Hold
you
up.
killed the whole world.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. What's this
Anglo's
then?
Anglo's
How are you
shit,
gonna
man.
tell us this?
What's
When you're
this?
using
What's
a
this?
translated, when you're using a translated Quran, when you're using a
He
translated
has so
Quran,
much
you cannot
fun
tell
with
us
these
what
people
it says,
because
what it
they've
doesn't.
learned
You have
nothing
an
but
issue with Muhammad
bullshit their whole
Pickle?
lives.
Check this out. What's
Yeah.
this then?
I do
Sahih al-Bukhari, Hadith 25. Allah's messenger, peace be upon him, said, I've been ordered by Allah to fight against all of mankind until they testify that none have the right to be worshipped but Allah,
Right.
and that Muhammad is Allah's messenger, peace be upon him.
Smite thee.
Who was one of the? I have a question. Who was the closest companion to the
He didn't even answer him.
Aisha, Abu Bakr,
Okay.
okay, his flying donkey, what's his name? Barak.
I swear, you get all your information off Wikipedia, bro.
No, dude, I've got two
He
copies
goes-
of the Quran right here.
He goes and he doesn't buy your.
I've got-
He goes.
I've got Sahih al-Bukhari right here. I've got every. See this? See this right here? This is every copy of
Start at
Sahih
verse
Muslim or every volume of Sahih Muslim. Yeah, I'm happy to. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say that Muhammad was at war with the pagans in Mecca. That's what you're gonna say, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the polytheists, the pagans. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's true. He was at war with the pagans in Mecca, but there's a problem. He says, go fight these people and kill them because they broke their treaty, right? So why does it then say, but if they become Muslims, don't kill them? Lo, Allah is forgiving and merciful. I thought they broke the treaty. You kill them. It doesn't matter if they become Muslims. And then why in verse 29 does it say, then in verse 29, it says, fight against each those who have been given the scripture. That's Christians. Why are we killing Christians? They don't have anything to do with the pagans in Mecca breaking a treaty. Why are we killing Christians? Right, because it's not about killing people who broke a treaty. It's about
in the
killing people who
Crusades.
are
Why
not
they kill all the
Muslims.
Muslims of the city? Why they burn down so many mosques in the Crusades? You could ask.
Listen. I'm not going to
What was
defend
the call
every
for
little
prayer-
thing that the
prayer
Crusaders
delayed
did.
for,
I'm
over
I'm
100
certain
years?
that some Crusaders did some evil things.
Oh yeah,
But
they did.
Our Bible doesn't
some,
call for
some.
our Bible doesn't call for
And
us
neither
to
does the
murder
Quran.
people.
Neither does the Quran.
Yes, I just read to you the Quran. I can read
Yeah,
you a
the
million
Quran, it's
verses
all
just
over
like
the
it.
Quran.
How about
Literally said the
Sahih
context
Muslim?
that it was to the pagans.
No,
time of
no,
war.
no.
In a time of-
Then why?
in
Then why
times
did,
of war. In times of war.
Yeah. Do you
Times
know
of
why?
war.
Because this is the book of war. It's the book of war. He's always at war. Muhammad was a fucking warlord. He was a cave dwelling warlord. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Joseph was
He
a
was always
pedophile.
at war.
Joseph was a
Oh,
pedophile.
really?
And his wife had
Really?
all the money.
How was Joseph a pedophile?
And Joseph, when he was 90 years old, he married Mary.
Oh, where does it say that in the Bible?
Check the Old Testament. Go through.
She wasn't 9 years
Oh,
old.
Joseph isn't mentioned in the Old Testament.
Stop lying.
Not,
bro.
not
You
even a single
You
time.
literally get your information off Wikipedia. You're literally a propaganda machine. Oh, you are a propaganda machine.
Who do you think Joseph
Bro,
is?
you literally, you know what you are.
What
Like,
about the
who-
Muslims
You're
not
just,
being
you're
able to
just,
celebrate
you
you're
think-
just a propaganda machine. You're just a
Joseph Joseph is a person from the New Testament, Professor.
Yeah.
So let's try again. Where in the
up.
Bible does it
Search
say
it
that
up.
Mary was 14?
Test them. Test them what? Test them. He's saying Joseph was not in the Old Testament. Search it up.
He's not.
You guys are gonna be. I want to see your phone when you search it up.
Yeah.
Actually,
He's not mentioning it. This guy knows his shit. Cam knows his shit.
Figure in the Old Testament.
He's a liar.
In Genesis
How?
50. Read it, motherfucker. Read it.
You're talking about
Here, go.
Joseph, Mary's wife or Mary's husband.
Yes. Who else? Who else is this?
Joseph, the husband of Mary.
Who else is this?
Mary,
Yes.
Mary, the mother of Christ, is in the New Testament, not the Old Testament.
Right.
What does it say right here then? He's featured
Listen. Just because you got proven wrong
in
doesn't
Genesis
mean, bro. It's
37
okay.
to
It's okay. I
50.
get it, propaganda machine that you can't prove us wrong.
Bro. Okay, how about this chapter and verse that Mary was a child when Joseph married
Don't
her?
bring up chapters right now. Don't bring. Forget about religion. For 1 second. Forget about religion in 1 second. Okay, I want to
We're
ask.
saying
is
they're
killing
right.
kids regular? Is killing kids
He's the
okay?
son of Jacob and
Is
Rachel.
no, it's not. Is raping kids okay?
Of course not. It's disgusting. Any
Then why
person,
did the Prophet
whether-
Muhammad do it?
Yeah,
No, he
I
didn't.
love it. Why did
Sahih
Prophet
al-Bukhari
Muhammad do it? He
5134.
raped a 9-year-old.
No, he did it, bro. You're literally
I'll read
using
it. I'll read it.
fake Bukhari.
Go read it.
Sahih al-Bukhari 5134. And you can Google this. Go ahead and go. Sahih al-Bukhari 5134. Google it right now. Let's read it
That's
together.
not even in the. That's not even in the Quran though. So
Are you a Sunni?
I don't understand.
He didn't say that it was in the
Are you-
Quran.
Okay, great. So you believe in Sahih al-Bukhari then? No jumping around. Pull it up on your phone right now. We'll read it together.
but
Sahih
not
al-Bukhari
everything-
5134.
Not everything there is 100%
Not
accurate.
everything is
Same way with
100%
the
accurate.
hadith,
Exactly.
it's not 100%.
Pull up
And there's
sunnah.com
different
right now and we'll
hadiths
read
that
it
say
together.
all different things. We
Pull
can
up
put I just told you,
sunnah.com.
It's not
That-
accurate if it's not in the Quran. It's not the word of God. That don't mean you got to do
Oh,
it.
really? So none of the
Don't-
hadiths are
doesn't mean
accurate.
you
So
did
why do you
either.
believe in them then?
What religion
Right.
do you follow?
What religion do you follow?
Doesn't matter. That the prophet
Oh,
married
no,
her
no,
when
no,
she
no,
was
no,
6
no,
years
no,
old.
it doesn't matter.
I'm a
So what are you?
Christian,
So you're just-
obviously. I'm obviously a Christian.
Okay, how are Christians treated by the Jews in Palestine?
Me too.
I'm gonna ask
They're
you,
treated so
current
good.
day, how are they treated?
You're pivoting. You can't defend your own religion, so you're
No,
pivoting.
current day. No. Because
It's
all
not
you do
about
is
religion,
bring up
number
religion
one.
and you're not
Yeah.
even using authentic text. You're using hadiths.
He's with this
that
guy
may or
for a
may
long
not be authentic.
time.
I'm not.
al-Bukhari.
I would never, me myself and I would never swear on the Bukhari because this Bukhari stories of the Prophet. You don't know.
Hey,
what's
Jimmy
authentic
from
and what's not.
Philly's in the house.
You do.
And
What
half
does
the
this mean?
stories,
What
half
does
the
this
stories
word
you're
mean?
saying we never
You
even
don't
heard about.
understand.
What does this word mean
Yo.
right here? What does that mean?
Sahih means true.
Sahih. Right. It means true. These are the
Okay, and I can
highest
name you,
rated
and I
hadiths
could
with no
name you,
broken chain.
I could do the same thing, and I could
How
write a
many
bunch of
times
stories
did you
about
guys
what's it called. I
change
could write
the
about.
Bible?
I could write a bunch of stories about anything. I could write about, and I could put Sahih. Just because a man put Sahih doesn't mean anything.
Do you deny that in the Sunni faith, Sahih al-Bukhari is believed? Do you deny this?
Do I deny that a majority of Sunnis believe it, or do I deny what? Because I was never taught
yeah.
to follow a book.
Do you
on the
do you
hadiths.
deny that the majority of Sunni scholars believe the hadiths of Sahih al-Bukhari? If you say no, you're lying.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think that the majority of scholars believe the hadiths in Sahih al-Bukhari?
Not every single
Not
one.
everyone.
This-
Not every
the-
single one
the-
is
the-
100% true.
Not
The
every single one is
hadiths-
100% accurate.
It doesn't
Not
have
the
to be
hadiths
100% of them. He said, do they
gathered
believe in
in
them? Yes,
Sahih
most of
al-Bukhari
them do.
are literally gathered by Sunni scholars who believe that these were accurate
every single
hadiths. That's why it
scholar
says
says
correct.
And how many? And how
That's why
many?
it says
How many people did it
sahih.
pass
Different
through?
things
How
about
many
it.
people did it pass through?
It doesn't matter. It's an unbroken chain.
Yes, it
doesn't matter.
If I tell him,
Nothing-
if I tell, look, think about it in common sense. If I tell him a story, then he tells him a story, then he tells him a story. You
Speaking
think it's not gonna be
taqiyya.
It's
misinterpreted?
going to be watered down.
Taqiyya. You're doing taqiyya. Boring.
Yo,
What's up?
you
You want to talk
streaming?
about Islam? I am.
How many viewers?
803.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's too late for me to talk to this many people.
Why?
It's late, man. It's late at night.
Okay, I only have 8.
Hey, what's up,
people
Bess?
watching.
800
Let's
or 8
see.
people. What's your
8.
stream?
8, just 8.
What's
This
your
many.
stream? No, what's your stream name? I'm gonna look it up.
It's I got banned. It's on Cozy TV.
That's fine.
You got banned?
It's
Where
on
was
it's
it?
actually not on Cozy. It's on Tick TV.
Tick TV. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
What's the handle?
Carl Higgins.
Carl Higgins.
Some of these people he has
With
a
the
good
I?
he has a good conversation with.
Okay.
But most of them are just they would
give a
kill him
link.
if they had the
This has been a while.
chance.
I actually don't have a link ready. Come on, just chat with me.
All right, I don't have long.
Okay,
That's
fine,
why I
that's
just want
fine,
to have a long conversation. But what do you usually
Okay.
talk about on here?
Well, I just set a couple interests and then just kind of get whoever comes in. We have Islam in common. I talk about Islam sometimes with people. I generally ask questions and talk about issues that I have with Islam. So if you're willing to do that, we should do it.
Sure, man. Yeah, sure. I hope I can answer it. But I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what are your beliefs?
Here we go. It's Christian.
I'm a Christian.
You're Christian. Okay, got you.
I'm a Christian.
Okay, cool. Well, what are your issues with Islam?
Well, I have a couple.
Here we go.
Well, I'll go through I'll bullet point each of my issues, and then you can
Here
do
we go.
whichever one you want. So, one issue: the Prophet Muhammad's marriage with Aisha and the subsequent consummation of that marriage
At
the
9
age
years
of
old?
9. The common through line that seems to be wage war and kill people, wage war against
We got
people
it.
and kill people who are not Muslims, and then the poor treatment of women, like Quran 434, on the part of those women on whom you fear disobedience, admonish them in bed, forsake them, and strike them.
And beat them.
Those are my primary issues.
And if all those issues, like if all those issues wouldn't exist, you would be much more like, what would your position on Islam be?
I would not become a Muslim, but I would be accepting of it if those three primary gripes were resolved. I think that I would maybe not fully, but I would become much more accepting of it.
Okay. So I'll say what I think. Maybe some arguments you've heard before.
This guy seems
I'm
reasonable.
going to lay it all out.
But let's hear it.
For your first point on Aisha's age, first things first. I mean, that's the hadith, right?
Yeah, you're right,
Which is
Lydia.
interesting.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. I'm saying that's interesting. That's the historical precedent we're using, because hadith isn't something you guys would accept already, like inherently as a non-Muslim, right? That's fine. That's not an issue. I'm just saying.
I think hadith is a valuable, historical source, though. In the same way that I think that for agnostics, when I was agnostic for most of my life, I think that the Bible is still a valuable and valid historical source.
Okay. All right. Cool. So with Aisha's age, if you use the same source for this kind of thinking, we actually come to other conclusions. One, Aisha was going to be married to a different man before the Prophet Muhammad.
That's what they all
she
say.
was deemed of that age when she would be getting married. The Prophet didn't initiate that marriage. That marriage was initiated by her and her father, Abu Bakr. The other thing is that the Prophet Muhammad didn't consummate the marriage, as you know, right? It was something that was done afterwards, right? Because by Aisha's initiative, she went to him and said, "I'm ready to consummate the marriage." The narrative of abuse that many
Notice how he's letting them talk, because the guy's reasonable.
That narrative, simply because of the fact that this was kind of her decision. This is her going into that, and she was ready at that age to be married, as is evidenced by other hadiths that I can find for you. That's the main idea there. I can expand on it more if you have other questions.
Sure.
Your second point. I'm going to go to your third point. What was your second point again? The second thing you said.
Second point was the
waging
jihad.
war. Yeah. So the thing is, if you look at historical sources, especially that of, for example, Lapid, this is the one I recommend. If you look at expansion of Islam and you look in depth into how it took place, in its initial years, the main impetus for the expansion of Islam was actually for land and resources. It wasn't actually mainly for conversion purposes. In fact, after the first, I think, 4 centuries, not 4 centuries, I think first century of expansion, I'll take the exact number for you, but for a long time, for like 2 caliphates, the percentage of Muslims within the caliphate was only 10%, 8 to 10%. So the narrative of, we're trying to expand Islam and get all these people to forced conversion doesn't stand, simply because it was such a minority of people. Yes, they controlled the military, they controlled the politics, but that didn't make them the majority within the lands that they were in. The people then thusly converted after. Later on, in later caliphates, there were examples of forced conversion. I'm not going to sit here and deny it, but that's against the Islamic. Those are against Islamic principles. The narrative that Muslims went into all these nations and forced everyone to convert is simply doesn't stand historically. And I mentioned some sources for that. The final point about.
All right. Are you as bored as I am with
first
this one?
generation
Let's get to
RPW
someone.
about for women. That's a point
Let's get
that
to some. Here
has
we
been
go.
thoroughly
Hold on.
discussed before. I'm sure you've seen this before, so I'm curious to see what you have.
Let's get to this.
Accessible practices and say this is what the sovereign Lord says.
This is almost over.
Your ancestry and birth were in the land of the Canaanites.
Here we go.
I can name like a few things, but
Like what?
I don't like either one of them.
Well, I just mean Trump. I just want to hear about Trump. What's wrong with Trump? Let me grab a piece of paper.
Okay, well, can you explain to me why you like him, and then I can go off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's great for the economy. I think that he's great for helping with taxes with the middle to lower classes. I think that he's restored confidence in our military. Okay. I think that I don't know. I think he's great. I think he's doing a good job. Why do you not like him?
Okay, well,
yeah, I know. I like this guy a lot.
I agree that he has good qualities and that he is trying to do good.
What's up, Commander?
Does he have aura?
No.
Does he?
I wouldn't say.
You don't think he has aura?
I mean, he's definitely like. If I think in the sense that he got shot at twice, I think, and he survived, then yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, you were saying, sorry.
And also, I just want to preface, like, I don't believe that he should be shot at, like, whatsoever. Like, I think that's inhumane, people trying to kill people. And I don't like that.
Because that's what he does.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where he talks about.
What do you think about?
He asked him Trump because hold on.
What were the things you didn't like about him?
Yeah, Lofer, he talks about Trump sometimes. Like he'll just say, like there'll be people on there who'll put the headline, "You want to talk about Trump?" And the lefties, most of them, she's being reasonable, but most of them that he talks to, they're out of their minds and they throw all the, well, he's a pedophile, he raped a little girl, you know, like they just throw all the bullshit and he just destroys them with facts. You gotta love it though. So that's why I was bored with the last guy, so I just went to the next one, and here it's a Trump. This is like a compilation video.
Well, I'm not very educated on this stuff. I just have my opinions. But I do know that with all the Epstein files and how much, like, yes, there was stuff released on him and stuff that weren't, but with how many redacted stuff there is and how much power he has, you never know how much stuff he could be hiding from the world.
Oh, you could say that about anybody, right?
Yeah,
You could
really.
say anybody
Yeah.
could be hiding stuff, right?
Yeah, I agree. And just like also, like, I know we've been in this war for what, 30 years?
This war?
War.
No, we haven't been in this war for 30 years. We've been in this war for like a month, if even.
No, not the new one.
The new
We
one.
haven't been in any war for 30 years.
Yeah,
we were in
no-
Afghanistan for 20, but we left when Biden was in office, and it was like a
Oh, okay.
terrible disaster. to
Disaster.
get out.
Yeah, that's what I'm like referring to, because
That was 9/11 that got us into that war, and it was
Mhm.
Bush, not Trump.
yeah, but wasn't Trump in the like around the area? of
What?
What do you
time?
mean?
Like being president
was-
during those times?
No.
Yeah, he was president like 20 years in, but so was Obama, so was Biden. You know, I mean, it was a long war. We were there because 9/11 happened, and we had to make sure that the terrorists know who's daddy.
And it was,
So we went
and it
over there
was
and we put
wrong.
in
It was
place.
just wrong.
I like your wording. It's funny.
Thank you.
I'm like, if you want to like test my stuff and prove me where I'm wrong, I would love that, because I'm okay and open to being acknowledged or like
Knowledge.
legible, whatever.
Challenge.
Yeah, no, like where to teach me. Like if I'm wrong,
Sure.
then
Well, what other issues do you have with Trump? I mean, all I've gotten so far is just we were in a long time war that every other president, left and right, were a part of. And,
Yeah.
I think has a pretty legitimate and recognized reason for entering. It's not the Iraq War. Trump wasn't president during the Iraq War. It's a different story. That was Bush. It's a different story. I mean, we're in that war. We were in Afghanistan because of 9/11.
and
Al-Qaeda.
why?
Okay.
Why are we in a war right now?
With Iran?
Yes, why are we in a war?
Yeah. Well, Iran was enriching uranium at an expedient rate and attempting to get nuclear weapons. Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. They have repeatedly attempted to, through their proxies, launch terrorist attacks against the United States.
Killed a lot of
against our
Americans.
allies through organizations like Hezbollah, Hamas, and other terror proxies that are sponsored by the IRGC, which is the Iranian or the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's their military in Iran. They're the Islamic Republic of Iran. I don't think that the largest state sponsors of terrorism in the world should be allowed to access nuclear weapons. And they were also expanding rapidly their ballistic missile capability, which could have allowed them to strike at the United States with ballistic missiles. There is no reality on this planet where the Islamic Republic of Iran should have weapons that are capable of striking the U.S. mainland. That's when you just have to come in. If they're getting close to a ballistic missile that can strike the U.S. mainland, you have to come in and just... Your supreme leader is now deceased.
He's now
dead.
dead. He has
And
assumed
so that's
room
what we did.
temperature.
We went in and we killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on the first day of the war. We destroyed virtually their entire navy. We have drastically reduced
typical
their
teenager
ballistic missile capability
today.
down 80% from the start of the war. We have destroyed their surface-to-air missile apparatus. We have destroyed virtually every police station in Tehran through the Basij. We have destroyed every IRGC headquarter in Iran. We have destroyed the IRGC intelligence apparatus in Tehran and made it virtually inoperable, like their government inoperable. It doesn't work. They put a new guy in charge. We kill him too, to the point now where I think pretty much anybody who's anybody in the Iranian government at this point, if they don't get killed, their troops are probably going to start questioning them. It's not a great time to have to go out for a coffee break when the building gets blown up, because then everyone's going to say, huh, why didn't you get blown up? Are you a spy? And the whole thing just folds in on itself. The leadership structure is decimated. The Bandar is blown up. It's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yep, this is the second time we've done it. I think we've shown incredible military discipline.
Yeah.
The second time that we have had a problem with the country and we've just gone straight for their
Stuxnet.
leaders.
Yeah.
You know,
Stuxnet.
the first case, Venezuela, just kidnapping Maduro in the middle of the night. It's pretty awesome. Then this, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, dead in the first day, blown up.
I have a question, just random.
Sure.
Are you recording?
Streaming.
Oh.
Well,
So
here, I
people
would
can
have done
see
it
me.
better.
Yep.
Oh. Well,
What's up, bro?
What's up?
How you doing, bro? Can you rate my friend for me?
No, you want to talk about Israel?
I'm down to talk about Israel.
Okay, let's do it.
What you like about Israel?
Oh, dude, it's epic.
Look,
The
he has
buffer
the thing
between
on.
the U.S. and radical
He tries to
Islam.
get him.
They test all our weapons for us. They're locked into a contract. They have to buy our aircraft. They can't produce their own. They're our best ally. They vote with us in 90% of contested UN votes. It's more than any other country on the planet, including all of our purported allies.
I wanted to say something else. Do you guys know that AIPAC is not an Israeli lobbying firm? It's American. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Like France, the UK, etc.
Uh-huh.
They send relief teams after disasters in the United
Yeah,
States.
she was
which is
dumber
awesome.
than dumb. What's up, Lou?
Why don't you like them?
I mean, I don't necessarily hate them. I just think what they're doing is wrong.
What are they doing?
Just like genocide. There's committing.
What is a genocide? What is a genocide?
It's the mass murdering of an ethnic group.
Really? So by that definition, virtually every war in human history is a genocide.
Huh? What's up? Can you repeat that?
The mass killing of a particular ethnic group, if that's the definition of
Wait,
genocide,
hold
then
up.
virtually
Give me 1 second.
every war in human history is a genocide.
You can't
Give me
hear.
1
The guy's
second.
got shit equipment.
All right, can you repeat that?
Yeah. If your definition of genocide is the mass killing of a particular ethnic group, then virtually every war in human history has been a genocide.
No, not necessarily. I don't believe that.
No, it is
right
true.
now, I don't think it's a genocide. The Iran-Israel war. There wasn't.
You're right. You're right. The current war is more just a mass killing of the entire government of Iran, rather than there's not a lot of collateral in the war. Take World War II, for example. Do you think World War II was a genocide against the Nazi Germans?
Against the Nazi Germans?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so.
We killed 400,000 people just in Berlin.
I'm not educated on how many Nazis.
Yeah, that's gonna be at like if you consider the highest possible calculation of Palestinians killed in Gaza, that's going to be 4 times as many people killed just in Berlin over a similar duration of time. You understand that, right? Yeah. So if you're saying Gaza is a genocide, then Berlin definitely also has to be a genocide, considering every single person killed in Berlin was of the same ethnicity.
Yeah, I don't think what's it called, a genocide. Oh, it's just the Holocaust where millions of people die.
So every war in human history prior to modern advancements in missile technology was a genocide.
So.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I think that is just completely brain dead. I don't think that anyone ever would agree.
Called the guy
I think
brain
that
dead.
obviously a genocide has to have a few different components to it. Of course, it has to be mass killing. It also has to have intent to mass murder people, not kill them as collateral, but to intentionally kill them. Yeah, sure, dehumanization is fine. That's fine.
I think Israel's they're intentionally killing Gaza.
Can you prove to me that they're intentionally trying to kill civilian Gazans?
Their excuse is, Hamas is hiding in the basement.
Which is true. It's not an excuse. It's true.
The church. There's churches that they've blown up.
Well, no church has been blown up. A church got hit with a Catholic church got hit with an errant mortar shell. It didn't get bombed, first of all, and second of all, a couple bricks fell off. I know exactly what church you're talking about. I've seen it. I've personally myself been to Gaza.
You've been to Gaza?
I'm very familiar with the situation there. Yeah, in August during the war.
Where are you from?
I'm from the United States of America, the best country in the face of the planet, baby.
I don't.
But like to say that they're intentionally killing Gazan civilians, I think, is a little bit outlandish, especially considering the steps they've taken to avoid civilian casualties, like dropping leaflets, like mass phone calls, mass text messages, setting up safe zones,
don't lie,
shipping
dude.
in
They do that.
tons and thousands of tons of food aid
This is
for
the
the
shit I
civilians.
say
Why
all
would
the
they
time.
waste money?
They do. The water,
I have family in Gaza.
There are
food,
pockets of
electricity.
starvation because that's what happens during war. But there is food in Gaza, and the Israeli government is allowing it in. When I was there in August, there were 700 tons of food aid sitting in just one little tiny. There was enough food aid just in the UN humanitarian zone to feed every Gazan in the strip.
You don't. Okay.
Israel's allowing the food in, but what happens is, ask the UN, 96% of all of their food trucks get robbed by either armed groups or Hamas.
Yeah.
So how pockets of starvation happen is if you are trying to get food to Jabalia, let's say, and somewhere between Kerem Shalom and Khan Yunis, the truck is robbed and it's tipped over and all the food is stolen, and then it's resold by Hamas. Of course, Khan Yunis, or not Khan Yunis, Jabalia is going to remain starving. Why? Because the food got robbed between Khan Yunis and Kerem Shalom. It never made it to Jabalia.
Never made it there, but
so
you
of
don't
course
hear
those
that.
people will be starving, but that's not Israel's fault. That's the fault of the armed gangs that robbed the truck or Hamas. And also, by the way, all of that food is already paid for. It's free. It's supposed to be sent to the Palestinians and distributed for free, but Hamas steals it and they sell it back to the Palestinians. Skipped. Yo, what's up?
Nice kufia, brother. Nice kufia.
Thank you. What do you want to talk about Israel?
I mean, if you want to, what do you want to talk about Israel?
Do you like Israel?
No.
Why not?
They're killing my people. What do you think? Not even my people, like everyone in the Middle East.
Really? They're killing Iraqis?
I mean, they're killing Iranians,
I don't think so. Are they
Palestinians?
Well, they're killing Lebanese because the Lebanese government can't control their population and prevent Hezbollah, an Iranian-sponsored terror proxy, from shooting missiles into Israel. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go with that, sure. They're bombing southern Beirut because that's where Hezbollah is hanging out, and they're embedding themselves among civilian infrastructure. Yeah, there's been some collateral deaths.
So what are like you like pro-Israel, pro-Palestine? I don't understand.
I'm pro-Israel. I don't think Palestine exists. I don't think it's ever exists.
Okay,
This
I
darling
thought-
here, this darling here is Iraqi. This is an Iraqi kafia. See this is right. Let's see, where am I? This is the Tigris, the Euphrates, the water between. This is the netting the fishermen use to catch fish in the Tigris and the Euphrates. What country lies between the Tigris and the Euphrates?
I don't believe
That's
that.
going to be Iraq.
I don't believe the last part you
We know
said. That
Palestine
Bibi's
doesn't
trying to get
lie
out the
between
door.
the Tigris and the
fighting
Euphrates
for
because
him.
it's never existed.
Okay, let me explain to you something about like the kufiya you're wearing. It's not
Yep.
only for Palestine; it's for all Arabian countries. Like
It's created in
Uh,
Iraq. Yeah,
They give a lot of
No.
countries that much
it's
money.
created in Iraq. Yeah, that's where the
No,
kafia comes
you
from.
know,
is
We
you
give
Iraq.
a
know
lot
the
of money to
kufiya was
countries that,
invented in
personally, I
Iraq,
would think,
Iraq,
and this doesn't mean anything
This
against
is
anybody.
this is
I
literally
would like to
the
get out
meaning of this is the Tigris,
get rid
the
of all
Euphrates,
foreign
the water
foreign
between,
money.
and the netting that the
I don't want
fishermen
anybody
use to
coming.
catch fish in the Tigris and the Euphrates.
No, let me
The
tell you.
land between the Tigris and the Euphrates is Iraq. It's not Palestine. Palestine doesn't exist. It's theorized to be in the Levant between the Jordan and the Mediterranean, but it's actually not.
Hey, let me talk first. Let me talk, man.
Go ahead.
Arabians, they all wear kufiyas. There's red kufiyas,
Sure.
black and white kufiyas. Like if you see Saudi Arabians, they wear kufiyas as well.
Yep. Red ones.
So the kufiya is not Palestinian and it's not Iraqi. Arabian.
Different type of kafia. It has a different pattern on it.
Like
This
Abu
particular
Ubaidah,
pattern
for
is
example.
Iraqi.
You know Abu Ubaidah, right?
What's that?
You know Abu Ubaidah?
Uh-huh.
He wears a red one, and he works for Hamas.
Yeah, he's a Jordanian kafia because he's Jordanian.
It's not Jordanian, it's Arabian.
Red kafias are Jordanian generally, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter like where the kafia comes from. It really doesn't matter. Like that flag behind you, that's a British flag. It was invented by the British. It's the Sykes-Picot flag.
Yeah.
You know it's
Sykes-Picot.
true. You know
Yeah, it's a
it's true.
Sykes-Picot.
It's
He drew the boundary lines. It's a Brit flag.
You know, like before the Ottoman Empire fell,
Yeah,
the Arabian countries, like
1917.
they were all like one country, like they were one
Ottoman
big
Empire.
country.
Right. Ottoman
Yep.
Empire.
Yeah.
The Ottoman Caliphate, yep.
Yeah, it was all one big country. There was no Palestine.
Until they
there was
failed.
no Jordan. We were all one. The Ottoman
There was a
Empire
Jerusalem.
fell. Okay, there was Jerusalem, of course, but the Ottoman Empire fell. The British
Yep.
came. They took Palestine, Jordan. The French took Lebanon. They took
Iraq.
Syria as well.
Yeah.
Syria, and they drew the borders.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we were all like one big country.
Yep.
So I don't care if you think this is British, but it represents Palestine now.
Yeah, but the problem is that like there never rose a Palestinian country in that land.
Right.
There was never a defined nation called Palestine. There was never a
Right.
Palestinian leadership until 1993, when Israel graciously gave a portion of the West Bank to the Palestinian Authority and created the Palestinian Authority themselves. There was never a Palestinian country there. So that's my hate. And what we have now is, you brought up the war in Gaza, and the reason there's a war in Gaza is because the Gaza is run by Hamas, which is the Islamic resistance movement that broke into Israel and killed 1,300 people.
Yeah, but Israel killed more people now.
Right, but not unprovoked.
What does provoked mean?
They didn't attack first.
Oh. I mean, they were like people in Gaza. They live like not even like a second-class citizens. They live. They have.
Well, the people in Gaza aren't under the Israeli government. They're under the Hamas government. So if they live as second-class citizens, that's probably a problem they should take up with the Palestinian government, not the Israeli government.
No, but like we both know that Israel is like covering Gaza from all the way they like. I don't know. I don't know how to say it in English, but
the reason that is, the blockade went in place in 2007 after Hamas mass executed Israelis. Like, that's
Right.
why the blockade went into place. They couldn't behave themselves, and
And they were bringing weapons in constantly on the food ships. They were getting weapons smuggled in.
The Mexicans were breaking
and they
into
were
the
they were
US
using
and
them to
killing
kill
people,
innocent
and that's
Israelis in
what
their
was
neighborhoods.
by their government. Certainly, we should put a blockade on them and prevent them from coming here. Right. I mean, up until October 7th, I mean, it's not even a full blockade. Up until October 7th, Gazans were crossing the border every single day and working as migrants in Israel.
Yeah, but it was not easy for them to leave Gaza. Like they had to get like papers and
Yeah.
a lot of stuff just to leave Gaza.
Well, they lived under a terror regime. Who's, by the way, like Hamas's charter says, it cites a hadith from Sahih Muslims that says the day of judgment will not come about until the Muslims fight the Jews, killing the Jews. When the Jews hide behind stones and trees, the stones and trees will say, "Oh, Muslims, oh Abdullah, there's a Jew behind me, come and kill him." It's not exactly a people that you want to just let freely enter your country.
Yeah, talk a little bit. Talk slowly.
Did you get the hadith that I said?
I got
Okay,
what
Article
you're talking
7.
about. Like, yeah, we Muslims, we believe at the end of time that we will take Jerusalem.
Here we go.
But Hamas takes that hadith and they use it as a doctrine for their government. That's the problem. Is you might believe that hadith is prophecy and you don't have to act on it. They believe that they have to act on it. That's the problem. If they didn't believe that, they wouldn't have cited it in their charter. Right. So and they state repeatedly. It's not just the charter. They say repeatedly, all of you Palestinians in diaspora, wherever you find a Jew on this planet, take care of him by way of slaughter and killing. I mean, they're terrible people. And so, of course, Israel has to be careful about who they let in.
Says that, yeah, go kill Jews.
No. I'm not saying that's not hadith. That's the words of the Hamas leadership.
I don't know where he came up.
That's Fatih Hamad, who's a senior Hamas official, said that.
I don't know him.
So Hamas official. Is your family from the West Bank or Gaza?
West Bank.
West Bank. Okay. So what's your issue with Israel as far as the West Bank goes?
You're scaring me. Like you're taking notes. Are you streaming?
Yeah, I'm streaming.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Just for reference, like I'm not just a dude in America. Like I was in the West Bank in August. I went to Gaza in August. I've been to the West Bank many times. It's not like I'm not like just some dude talking out of his ass on the internet. I've been to these places. I firmly understand how both governments operate. I understand the history of the region, like down to precision, probably more than most of the people who live in that area on either side of the conflict. I think that my education on the issue is probably better than the education in an Israeli school or in a Palestinian school. Not to diss either educations, just that I've spent a lot of time on this issue. I've dedicated like 6 years just to learning about the Middle East and in the unfolding of history in the region.
I don't know, man. I think it's messed up because like the land of Palestine, it was populated by Arab majority for like a really long time, and then Jews came back.
Right, it was populated by Jews before that, though.
I mean, yeah, but if you think about it, let's say, for example, Native Americans decided they want their land back, and they started fighting Americans for the land back. Will you accept that?
Yeah, I would accept it. I'd say we'd fucking put a boot in their ass. It'd be easy dubs.
I mean, yeah, of course they will not.
You know what I would say to them? I would say to them, you ever seen an F-22 Raptor? They would lose. It'd be easy dubs, right? So what I would say is like the Palestinians in 1948, the slate was clean. There was a partition plan. The Arabs were unhappy with the partition plan. They started a war. The entire Arab world descended on Israel, and they fought the Jewish agency, who was fighting for a much smaller portion of the country that they ultimately ended up walking away with. And the Arab world lost. And it sucks to suck. History has winners and losers.
Help from Britain or the French? I don't know.
No, everybody hung Israel out to dry. I mean, there were literal Holocaust survivors fighting with. I mean, it was so bad that at the end of World War II, the Czechs were making weapons for the Nazis, and they just had all these like Nazi stamp. They all had swastikas on them, the guns. They had all these extra guns, and nobody would sell guns to Israel, to the Jewish agency in Israel, the Haganah. And so you had a bunch of Holocaust survivors running around with guns that had swastika stamped on them because they couldn't get guns from anywhere else. They were hung out to dry. Nobody helped them. The Arabs did have help, though. They had help from the entire Arab world, which was much more established than Israel. Like the Jordanians, I believe, had an air force. The Egyptians were extremely established at the time. They were not part of the cutting up of mandates. So, yeah, they still lost.
Found it.
I don't know.
All right, guys.
Round 2 and 67.
This is the end of it. I got one more I want to play. I found it. I got one more I want to play. This is good. Some of you guys may not like it, but I think it's very educational. This will blow your mind. Stop scrolling. 13 minutes you need to watch. Gotta get there. Let's redo it. Let's do it from the beginning.
Upon hours of research of everything that I'm going to say to make sure that it's as true as I can make it. And I speak to people in the White House, I speak to people in the Senate, the Congress, I speak to people in the intelligence services of both us and the United States, I speak to members of the Knesset, I speak to members of the State Department. And the situation I'm going to tell you, you might say, I don't know, maybe these are out my eyes, you know this stuff. I'm telling you stuff is true. In the middle of September 2024, we watched the greatest intelligence operation unfold. And a 27-year-old analyst, she sat behind a desk and she's going through the data from the war after the war, and she's seeing the pictures of the bodies of the Hezbollah fighters that are coming in, and she notices that each of them on their chest above their hearts wears a walkie-talkie. And she goes to her boss at the time, who was the division head, and she says to the says, how great would it be if we could put a bomb inside each of those walkie-talkies, thousands of Hezbollah fighters. Just push a button and they all have an explosive charge go over their hearts and kill them. Just drop dead right there. Most of our lives, when we suggest ideas to our bosses or to our teachers or to our administrators, and they're out of whack and they're not possible to be done, we're told that's not possible. The Mossad's ethos are different. It's a challenge. Okay, figure out how you're going to do it. So she created a shell company in Germany, which worked with a small company in Taiwan, which provided communications equipment to companies all over the world. They had a great online business. Dinky little store in Taiwan, but great online business. And the next time Hezbollah came around ordering walkie-talkies, this partnership, this shell company in Germany interrupted the supply chain and injected a little C4 into every single one of those walkie-talkies with a remote detonating device. Thousands of Hezbollah fighters wore them for 10 years. A little bomb on their chest that they were unaware of. Nasrallah Mashma, the head of Hezbollah, at a certain point after 10 years, got paranoid about Israel eavesdropping on him and figured they were doing so through the walkie-talkies. And he ordered that Israel, being a high-tech country, Hezbollah would have to go low-tech to make sure that Israel could not interfere with their communications. So the most low-tech thing he could think of was a pager. Nobody had seen a pager for 15 years. You cannot go online and buy 20 pagers. You can't find them on eBay. Nobody has 20 pagers, let alone 5,000. Eavesdropping on this conversation, the Mossad agent, now 15 years later, tells her shell companies, we got to restock pagers, which is the equivalent today of saying we should restock rotary phones. You're like, that's crazy. Who in the world's going to buy this? But we got to have thousands available. 3 days later, the bet paid off. A request comes in for 5,000 pagers. We're all too happy to supply those pagers with a little C4 and a detonating device inside of it. And Hezbollah fighters are walking around.
I've heard about this, but it goes beyond
with these pagers. After October 7th, Nasrallah sees what Yahya Sinwar Yamam Shemo was doing with his communications, and he had switched to no digital communications to make sure that Israel could not eavesdrop and was passing messages through the tunnels. And Nasrallah says that's what we have to do. We have to do that. Nasrallah orders in 3 days' time for everybody to take their pagers, put them up in the closet next to the walkie-talkies, and they're going to go through handheld communications. Israel hears this and comes to Prime Minister Netanyahu and says, listen, you don't have to blow them all up, but if you don't do it now, it's never going to happen. They're never going to have these. This is our only opportunity. It's use it or lose the time. Prime Minister Netanyahu orders on a Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. One page goes out to all the members of Hezbollah that have these pagers. It's over 5,000 people. Hold the pager up against your, like as close as possible to your eyes. Push 2 buttons simultaneously, and the classified message will appear. The reason Israel was doing that was to get it as close as possible to their brains. Not everybody, if you remember the famous video of the bomb that went off in the grocery store, not everybody answered the page. Israel blew up all the pagers. Only 42 people were killed by them, but over 3,000 fighters were taken off the battlefield that day.
Right.
Injured beyond the ability to fight ever again. How many Israeli soldiers were in operation on that battle? 0. The next day, you got to imagine that night, as one intelligence officer told me, he said, it's not that nobody else has ever done something like that before. It's that it's beyond the imagination of any intelligence service to even put something like that into play. They come back the next day to the Mossad headquarters. When they turn on a live stream from their drones and of the Lebanese news and see at the funerals that Nasrallah has ordered the remaining fighters to put the walkie-talkies on so that he could communicate with them. You got to imagine that was the top of the Gila moment where they all start dancing and looking for the old detonator. And they blew it up. And 25 more fighters died on the spot. I was watching the funerals and saw the bombs going off and wondering myself, who in the world is blowing up Hezbollah funerals? It was us. Tuesday afternoon, the first wave goes. Wednesday afternoon, the second wave goes. Thursday was the greatest of the days because Thursday, Nasrallah ordered that the 20 remaining commanders, high-ranking people within the Hezbollah organization, do not use any form of technology, but rather get together in person in a certain apartment. 3 F-15s took off from Ramat David Air Force Base and planted 3 missiles straight through a window into their meeting and took out the 20 commanders. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Hezbollah is no longer a threat to the state of Israel, to the Jewish people. How many soldiers did we lose? Out of the pages of Tanakh, 0. Now that Hezbollah is gone, attention focuses on Syria.
Great story.
Syria's been going through a civil war for the last 10 years. Assad, who was the head of Syria, Assad was protected by Hezbollah and by the Syrian army. Hezbollah is no longer protecting him. And a true Russia, a man named al-Sha'ara, who is now the president of Syria with a $10 million bounty on his head from the United States, realizes this is his chance and orders his troops in. The hardest Israel ever fought was December 8th and 9th of last year, and most Israelis, most people in Israel, have no idea it happened. On December 8th and December 9th, as al-Sha'ara's forces came into Syria, everybody in the Kiryat, our Pentagon in Tel Aviv, realized, take out all the Syrian files. Every attack plan. It's absolute chaos there. Put them all into play right now. 350 planes go off on 350 missions. That, over the course of 48 hours, we bombed every single Syrian Air Force jet. None remain. We bombed every single Syrian Navy boat. None remain. We killed every single general and assassinated them. None remain. We killed every single nuclear scientist working on their nuclear weapons program. None remain. We killed every single chemical scientist working on Syria's chemical weapons, which they had and don't remain anymore, and they don't remain anymore.
Rabbi.
We killed everybody, took southern Syria for ourselves as a buffer zone. And how many soldiers fell in those battles as we raced across Syria, bombing them and assassinating their people? 0. Out of the pages of Tanakh, we did not lose 1 soldier in Syria. With Hezbollah and Syria out of the picture, Iran is left vulnerable. An F-35 fighter jet costs $235 million each. And for every hour that it's in the air, it requires 8 hours of maintenance. The United States Air Force, at any given time, its planes are in 51% readiness. That means they need double the amount of planes to fight a war, because 50% of the planes are always under maintenance. That's acceptable numbers for mechanical engineering for airplanes. That's how it works. When Prime Minister Netanyahu plans the attack on Iran, he's going to fly 200 planes, 4 hours, 2,000 kilometers to Iran,
This is how they did it.
2,000 back, another 4 hours. An hour over the air avoiding anti-aircraft fire. The stress on the airplane is tremendous. Stress on the pilot is tremendous. And the acceptable losses are 8 planes on every round of fighting. 8 planes will suffer mechanical failures. Just imagine how many times you've been on a passenger jet, which is a lot less complicated of an airplane, and the pilot announces, I'm sorry, we have like a 20, 30-minute delay. Something on the plane broke. You need to bring a mechanic out to fix it. For an F-35, 8 drop out of the plane on every round. Since we lose 8 pilots.
That's
200 planes, 192 planes come back, 100 require more maintenance. Only 90 go back. Of the 90, another 8 drop. Over the course of 10 days, we're looking at 60 dead pilots, 60 lost planes, and about half the planes at any given time back on the runway for maintenance, some of them not being able to take off ever again. We suffered no losses.
None.
We didn't even have a plane that required significant maintenance.
That's
the way the
unheard
mechanical
of.
engineer explained this to me is that it's impossible, except that it happened.
Right.
The American ambassador told me they still can't file reports. They don't know how to explain this. It's impossible for this to have happened. Impossible. We're not talking about it's unlikely. We're not talking about the odds are against it. We're talking about the manufacturer will tell you it's impossible. Today, the United States Air Force is rethinking its entire approach to how to fight wars and how to get 90% of its planes in the air every single time, just as we have. While we're doing this over Iran, we have 2 more operations going on. Operation Narnia and Operation Red Wedding, which kills all the scientists and all the generals in Iran. Nobody even knows this happened. We had soldiers everywhere. We had a base in Iran for years producing drones. In Iran, we had soldiers. It's amazing to think about how we did this. How many soldiers did we lose in the attacks on Iran? 0. The news put out a story, the Israeli news, because it's censored, that most of the missiles that came in from Iran were blown up by Iron Dome, by David Sling, or by Arrow. It's not true. They landed. And they landed hard. Our office, Nefesh B'Nefesh, we had a missile land across the street from us in Tel Aviv. Our office was out of commission for 2 months. It needed 2 months worth of renovations. That's how hard these missiles hit. A missile hit a 30-story building in Tel Aviv, where American military personnel stay. Half the building came down. Not one person went to the hospital. American engineers from the State Department went out the next day to look at it and said, it's impossible. Soroka Hospital. The director of Soroka Hospital looked at one of its 8 buildings and saw it and said, if the missile hits this building, I don't know why he wasn't concerned about all the others, this will be bad. Empty the building. The next day, it's a direct hit. Nobody was hurt. Not killed. Nobody was hurt because nobody was in the building. In Yerushalayim, this is going to scare some people. We have a funeral home called Shamgar. Shamgar also stores dead bodies. Shamgar was ordered by the Israeli government on Friday morning after the Thursday night attacks to order extra freezers for tens of thousands of bodies from Jerusalem. The American government told me the expected losses on the Iran attack back at us. Listen, between 80 and 100,000 Israelis dead. 80 to 100,000. That's a lot of us. The Iran war, on the attack back against us, we lost less than 40 people. Can't explain that. February 20th, 2025. Everybody knows what happened that day? That day, we should be saying Hallel, probably not based on the English date, but on the Hebrew date. So 9 o'clock that night, when 3 buses blew up in a parking lot in Bat Yam, and a woman found a bomb under her seat at another bus, and all the buses in Israel were told to pull over, and one more bomb was found. When you build a bomb, you got to be really careful, because you make a mistake, and that's the end of you. The plan, 5 buses would blow up at downtown Tel Aviv, and they would kill thousands of Jews, injure thousands more. Can you imagine another October 7th? They made a mistake, an inexplainable mistake. Make it once, I can understand, but they made it 5 times in a row. They set the bombs for instead of 9 a.m. for 9 p.m. So when they blew up, nobody was injured. Inexplainable. The last story I'm going to share with you, that they found Sinwar's plans. Yahya Sinwar was the head of Hamas, and they found his plans. And the plans were for the October 7th attack, not to be on October 7th, but to be a coordinated attack. Listen very carefully to this.
No, you did not.
Coordinated attack was supposed to be Hamas doing what it did, Hezbollah firing 50 to 100,000 rockets at northern Israel, coming across the border, and Iran firing its ballistic missiles at us. Palestinians in Yehuda Shomron would have rebelled, would have gone town to town murdering. We would have had, at best, millions of dead Jews and still had our country. That's best case scenario. Expected scenario from that plan is there's no state of Israel. There's millions of dead Jews and millions of Jews being held hostage. What happens after that? Our nightmares can't fathom. For reasons we'll never know, Sinwar jumped the gun and went early without telling Hezbollah and Iran. And what should have been the end of us turned out to be an amazing Yeshua, an amazing salvation. Every single thing that we've had, every salvation, whether it's Hanukkah, Jews in Mitzrayim, Jews were killed, and we lost people. In modern times, Yom Kippur War victory, 6-Day War, 1948, we lost 1% of the Jewish people in Israel. There's always loss, but there's also tremendous Yeshua. What we've experienced the last 2 years, can't fathom it because we're in it. It's hard for us to see it. But we've experienced the greatest miracles that we've seen in centuries. Ask yourself of the stories that I've told you tonight. If the Chashmonaim would come back in time and they would hear this talk tonight, would they not say, we're jealous of you? We took out 1 army. You took out 7. We had losses. You had very few to none in many of your wars. We can't see it. We're in it, but it's there, right in front of our face. Bisman hazeh are the tremendous miracles and nisim of Hashkafa that we've had over the last 2 years. If it wasn't us, we should be saying Hallel every single day. We should wake up and say, I'm zochet to live at this time. Our grandchildren will look back at this time and they will ask us, how amazing was it to live at this time? And we're going to have to answer, you had to be there to see it. I do hours upon hours of research of everything that I'm going to say to make sure.
Okay. That was that. Yeah. There it is. That's it. Right there. It was taken from Proverbs. Proverbs 24:6. It highlights the focus on strategy, intelligence, and covert operations. That's the motto. And just listening to those operations, they live by the motto. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Allison. And thanks. Yeah, let me see. Let me see. Well, you know what? We're heading into 4 hours. God bless everybody for being here. Thank you very much. Do me a favor, hit that like button before you leave. It helps us tremendously. You guys in the chat were awesome tonight. You guys are always awesome. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys next week, and watch my videos during the week, please, because YouTube and the algorithms, they're doing something now where they're really screwing people. Yeah, and I'm one of them. So I'm getting like a third of what I used to get as far as views. But all right, I got to figure it out. Hey, thanks. Thanks, guys. No, I'm not. I'm Christian, actually. I'm literally wearing a crucifix tonight. Literally. I couldn't see it because of the mic. Sorry. There it is, right there. All right, sorry. Dos Vitania, tovarищ. Говорите по-русски, Louis. Mananujnia piva. That means I gotta have a beer. Or get me a beer, actually. Mananujnia piva. Get me a beer. I don't know what they say. I know piva is German, but maybe it is. I don't know. I used to swap curses with Russian guys in work because I wanted to know if they were talking about us when wait a minute, what's that? Surprising. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you very much. Love you all. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow night in 42s. 42's link is in the description. Most of you guys have already subbed, but in case anybody's watching that isn't being as colorful as my good friends here. All right, you guys have a good one. I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Take care.